They switched microphones. I want to see how garners any YouTube comments and you and Cassidy can all. This is one that it was. .606 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, Jake producing. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. Man, I hope everybody fared well through the storm last night. Not seeing any reports of major outages. Spent a good chunk of this morning already scrolling through Entergy and Demco, making sure everybody's up and running. There's a few scattered here and there. Not major numbers to start off the day, though, so it looks like we did all right last night. Wow, those were brutal storms. Wow, those were loud storms. A lot of lightning strikes. Lot of lightning strikes. But you heard the forecast from Marissa right there. Today should be downright pleasant. The humidity's going to sneak back in tomorrow. Look for some scattered rain over the Easter weekend, which could not be looking forward to anymore. Love me some Easter weekend. All right, let's run down the show today. Patrick Grimion going to be by for a couple segments to talk about business. I want to talk about NFTs in the NIL space. What? Are those even words or just a jumble of letters? Yeah. NFTs and in the NIL space. Patrick Grimion at 6:35. In the 7 o'clock hour, Senator Bill Cassidy. Well, he's been busy while the Senate's been on recess. Recess is not recess for Bill Cassidy. Been all over the place. Yesterday at the West Baton Rouge Chamber. Also speaking to our legislature yesterday. He'll be speaking with us at 7:15. Specifically, want to talk about the energy sector and Operation Warp Speed for Energy. That's at 7:15, 7:35. The folks from Eye Care will be by for Crimestoppers today. Talking about the Bridge Center. Metro Councilman Daryl Hurst is going to join us at 8:15. He hadn't been on the show yet. I mean, he's only been a councilman for, well, he's an interim councilman for a while, but he's only been a councilman for a couple weeks now. Let's talk about last night's meeting. Really just talk about who he is, what he plans to do in the role. That's at 8:15. And then we're going to wrap things up talking with the president of Louisiana State University, William F. Tate. Looking forward to that. Have not had him on the show yet. This will be a first. Tom Galligan made himself available a lot. William Tate, as I don't know, maybe he'll like it, maybe he'll enjoy, maybe he'll want to come back. Got a lot to cover with President Tate. So the initial thought was to talk about last night's storms. But I'm not seeing any reports of damage. Like I said, Entergy and Demco, no major outages. The worst from Demco's perspective, 96 people are without power in Livingston Parish. 12 in Ascension and 1 in East Baton Rouge. From Entergy's perspective, what do they got? 40 in East Baton Rouge are without power right now. Last night it was a lot of the storms that it was a lot of the effects in Baton Rouge, or a lot of the rain, lightning, and thunder that we thought we were going to get in the weeks leading up to, where you'd see school canceled every Tuesday or Wednesday, or everyone sent home at noon from the workplace. What hit last night felt like what we should have gotten in all those other times. The thunderstorms on steroids, and this one definitely was. Tell you what, since we're looking at such pleasant weather as a result of last night's weather, let's go ahead and break early, give ourselves enough room on the back end to cover a couple different things in sports, because, my heavens, the basketball game last night, both games, the opening game was just a massacre. Hawks just manhandled the Hornets. And then the Pelicans took care of business. Did we see the end of Greg Popovich era? Possibly. What we did not see the end of was this Pelican season, and they'll be back at it. So let's talk about that in just a little bit. Hey, before we hit that break, want to remind you one more time. I'll remind you again tomorrow. Easter's this weekend. Need your Easter goodies? Need your Easter candy? Need to give the Easter Bunny a little assist? Well, swing by Mathern's downtown on 3rd Street, or the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. Both locations of Mathern's has you covered. They have all the accoutrements and treats, especially the local ones. Hitting up the Heavenly Hash and the Gold Brick and all the goodies that come from Elmer's locally. Both locations of Mathern's have got you set there. Both locations of Mathern's have got you set for your crawfish boil, which you know is on the way. Both locations of Mathern's have you set for bringing some really good beer to said crawfish boil. Yes, the craft beer selection, I would put it up against anybody in town. I do put it up against anybody in town regularly, and I'm never disappointed, and you won't be disappointed either. Downtown on 3rd or the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. Swing by Mathern's today. Hey, can you add LRN 17 and 18, since we're going to have a couple extra seconds? If we get to it, we get to it. If we don't, we don't. Also, if you see the son of a bitch that stole my pencil. Good morning, Christy. Yeah, I didn't sleep for the dew last night. I got maybe, because that rain was not done until after 2. And my alarm went off at 3:30. And I got up at 3:55. CJ McCollum. No. Let's do CJ McCollum first. Yep. And then we'll do 17 and 18 after that. Otter and Hanny were there. Nope. Oh. .615, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. So, 2 NBA games last night in the early game. Atlanta just took it to Charlotte, 132-103, your final score there. I mean, it was never close, by the way. Never close. Hawks got out to a very, very early lead, never took their foot off the gas. From an LSU perspective, Skylar Mays had 2 points in that contest. Would have thought he would have had more, considering the absolute onslaught from Atlanta's side and how they were in control of the whole game. You thought we'd have some more minutes from Skylar. All right, fast forward to the late game. 113-103, your final score. Pelicans move on by beating the San Antonio Spurs. CJ McCollum, 32 points. Jonas had 22. B.I. had 27. Herb Jones, wow, what a delight he's been. He had 12. Jose Verado had 12. It was just electric. And, oh, by the way, New Orleans is apparently a basketball city now.
This is the start of something special for sure. You can see the energy, feel the energy. You know, I got my mother's in town. I've had some family come in town, and when they go out to eat and things of that nature, you can kind of feel, you know, the city is starting to be excited about basketball, as they should. There's a lot of talent here. We're hungry. We're playing the game the right way, and there's going to be a lot of winning in our future. So I think this is indicative of the type of support we'll have going forward. I'm happy about it. I'm excited. I think, you know, obviously we got to go try to take care of business in L.A., but once we get back here, I look forward to seeing more sellouts. I'm sure the fans do, and we'll reward them with, you know, a high level of play, a high level of energy, and we'll leave it all out there on the court. I have seen it like this. It was like this when Drew and AD were here, so hopefully, you know, we get back to that here.
Yep. Let's not forget, CJ McCollum was with Portland when Drew and AD swept Portland. It happens. And yeah, New Orleans can be electric from a basketball perspective. It's always going to be the Saints' town. Yes. But there is no reason to believe that there's not room to get excited about good NBA basketball. And last night was good NBA basketball. As for the game itself, Willie Green was asked if he was nervous, and he said, oh yeah.
Absolutely, 100% nervous because we want to go out and play well. We want to make sure that we're prepared. None of our guys are afraid, so it's not that type of nervousness, but it's definitely a human factor that you want to go out and do well. You want your team to go out and do well, and yeah, it's there for sure.
So New Orleans will move on to play the Clippers, which is coming up Friday night. Trying to get a start time on this one. They're both in the West, so it's going to be the late game. Pelicans, Clippers, 9 p.m. Friday on TNT. The Hawks and Cavs will square off at 6:30 p.m. Friday before that. Over to LSU football. We got time? We got time. Over to LSU football. Mike Denbrock hit the microphone yesterday. We traditionally we haven't gotten to hear from coordinators and assistant coaches a lot in the past, and that's kind of by design. And after hearing from a number of coordinators and assistant coaches, I got to tell you, I don't mind not hearing from coordinators and assistant coaches. But we've got audio. Let's use it. Mike Denbrock was hired as LSU's offensive coordinator. He knew he had some work to do trying to turn around a team that finished 11th in the SEC in yards and 12th in points last season. Tigers were a bit overwhelmed at the start of spring practice, but Denbrock says everyone has started to adjust to where the bar has been set.
We're beginning to kind of understand what it's going to take to be really good. A lot of that is the work that they're willing to put in on the practice field. And I feel like that's kind of sinking in a little bit more than maybe it had the first week or so, that they're beginning to kind of understand, I think, that we're not going to change. Our approach isn't going to change, and that we're going to demand that they raise their expectations of one another.
Denbrock, don't have time for another cut here, but Denbrock did go into the installation of the offense, and they're not nearly as far into the installation as they would like to be. But he talked about managing not just the level of expectation from their perspective, but from the player's perspective as well. Too much of an install can get you overwhelmed. Of course, a lack of an install last year got the coach in hot water too. But anyway, here's the Fox Business Report. Oh my gosh! Remember last year with spring practice, and Ogeron would say, you know, we're about 30% into the installation, and everybody would lose their minds. Why does it take so long to install a damn offense? And then you get the new guys in, and it's like, we're about 30% into the installation. It's like, oh, it's good. They're pacing. They're pacing. Hop on in. You're in on this segment. Oh, yeah. It's all three of us. Oh, yeah.
I didn't sign up for a three-way this early in the morning. If I'm gonna start off the week rough, I'm gonna start off really rough.
Gross.
Oh, that was great. Who has done this to this microphone?
What? It's good. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Really?
Look how jacked up this one is.
This one's upside down then.
I guess that's just like your opinion, man.
Got him.
You know, of everything in that opening, that's the only thing that comes from something I've only seen once.
I mean, you only need to see it once, I think. Great movie.
What's the movie?
Big Lebowski.
The Dude. It's a good movie, though.
I heard about it. I have not seen it.
Would you consider yourself like a real appreciator of film? Or do you just like watching movies?
I like seeing it all come together. I just have not seen a whole lot of movies, so.
Fair enough. I've been trying to broaden my horizons when it comes to movies because I very much appreciate the making of films, the art of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, my knowledge is limited to Marvel and Star Wars. So I've been broadening out to some like critically acclaimed masterpieces like Scorsese films, Christopher Nolan, you know, stuff like that. Holy cow. I can't believe I've been missing out on this stuff for so long.
There's some great films out there, that's for sure.
I think one of my favorites that I've seen lately is The Departed.
I'm closing out the outage maps because I think we're done with them. Like, there's. I honestly thought we were going to have some level of damage. I'm not disappointed by it, for sure.
But your expectations were subverted.
Yeah.
Patrick, have you seen The Departed? That's a movie you gotta see.
Yeah. Block a good 3.5 hours of your life, and because it's worth it.
It is.
Hours?
Matt
Yeah.
Damon,
a lot of
Leonardo
life.
DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson.
You'd take less time to tell him who's not in it.
Honestly, yeah. Like, think of the most A-list cast you can think of, and then add another person.
Bruce Willis?
No.
No.
No Bruce Willis.
No Bruce for this one. But like
Martin
Wahlberg,
Sheen.
Alec Baldwin,
Yeah.
pre-controversy.
Anthony Anderson. Is that his name?
The older gentleman.
No.
I don't know who plays.
The black cop that comes up with DiCaprio.
Yeah.
From,
He's in what movie is he in that I'm thinking of?
he's in Blackish.
I haven't seen that. So, are we doing which part are we doing first of this segment?
We're going to do the Hot Take Jake thing first.
Okay.
National Lampoon's
Give me a
Christmas?
teaser as to what it's about.
Sports.
Okay.
You want me in on this?
Yep. You don't need to know much about sports to have an opinion on this.
That's good. Because I don't.
624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We'll be diving back into news in just a little bit. Then we'll be talking business with Patrick Grimmy on after that. First, though, I gotta toss things Jake's way. A little hot take bubbling this morning. I think it needs to get out on the table for all of us. A little hot take Jake this morning. How
I
about
got
that?
something to say.
How about hot take Jake? It rolls off the tongue.
I can't believe I didn't think of it myself.
What you got bubbling?
So, my hot take to start things off. I think, as a viewing experience, baseball is one of the least engaging sports out there. It's very boring to watch.
Okay, first of all, let's take comments on YouTube on this. No, absolutely. Because I don't necessarily disagree, but coming from a soccer fan, you have no right to insult any other sport.
Oh, okay.
As a soccer... No, let's go watch a bunch of guys just run around on we don't even call it a field.
At least they run.
It's a field, and you got to call it a pitch.
Okay, here's my ace in the hole. What other sport is it normal for there to be a segment for the entire audience to stretch as so they don't fall asleep? A seventh inning stretch.
There's no intermission in soccer?
Halftime, but it's
Yes.
not, a seventh
Every
inning
sport
stretch
has a
is literally
break.
made for you to get up and stretch.
Every sport has a break.
Yeah, but it's not called the halftime stretch.
Eric says fire him now.
Fire me. Come
Yeah.
on. Hear me out, people.
No, look.
What other sport has that?
What other sport it goes 9 innings? It's a beautiful symmetry to it. The seventh inning stretch is a thing of beauty. And soccer, by the way, could afford to have a little bit of, I don't know, life and or offense injected into it at some point. Now, that being said, baseball has worked very, very hard to speed up the game, to make the game more exciting. But anytime you jerk with the game, you're losing the organic. I'm a purist.
Yeah.
So you take everything with a grain of salt for me. I'm a purist when it comes to baseball. I don't even like the designated hitter. But you get more offense when you have a designated hitter. Who was the first designated hitter ever?
Why are you asking me this question?
Because it's the piece.
Why?
It's a
You know
piece
I
of
don't know
trivia.
the answer.
It's a piece of trivia. I know you don't. I know you don't. Ron Blumberg from the New York Yankees in 1972.
Yeah, you'd have given me 100 guesses, and it still would have been 100,000 too short.
It's okay.
But
What do you think? You sound off? You sound off on this nonsense.
Have you ever played baseball? You ever played it?
Yeah.
The actual sport.
Yes, plenty when I was a kid.
I'm just curious because I found that people who've played baseball actually enjoy watching it a lot more than those who have never
No, I played
baseball before.
just about every sport there was growing up, even hockey.
So you're on TikTok, right? You're on the talk?
Yeah, casually.
Have you seen the baseball
Are we calling
team?
it that now?
The talk.
Sure.
The talk?
I just did.
Okay.
Or have you seen the team called the Bananas?
No.
Oh,
Baseball team called
Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas.
I've
They're
heard
a
of them.
bucket list
I've
team
heard
for
of
me
them.
now.
Okay, so-
I've got to go see them.
So go watch them and then see if baseball's still boring.
They're like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
How could that even work, though?
Oh,
It does. It's beautiful.
It's amazing. And
Okay.
it doesn't have to be TikTok. You can check it out on
I just saw it.
I know, that's where I see them too. And they're made for TikTok.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But
After the segment, I'll enlighten
like
myself.
they have
and then I'll
like
get back
a
with
film
you.
crew behind the pitcher, like you can see the camera, they're filming it, like they do walkout songs and dances on the plate. It's entertaining.
Didn't one
to
of
say
them
the
have a
least.
flaming bat?
possibly.
Because I think that's
I
what
wouldn't
saw.
rule that out.
Yeah.
I saw one of them juggling 3 bats.
Okay,
Right?
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But, I didn't see Babe Ruth doing
The
that.
I didn't see Babe Ruth ever. Babe Ruth died long before I was alive, which means he died long before you were alive.
Debatable.
So
Wentz, I also
how is
think
that
that
debatable?
the time of death, I don't think that's debatable. That's pretty much a solid fact. But I think also for baseball and any sport in particular, some people are going to find watching it boring. Example, golf.
Yeah, I love playing golf.
I love playing golf
watch
and I
it.
love watching golf, but so many people you talk to hate both.
I can't.
Like,
watch
I don't
it.
understand. You
I
sit
love
there and
playing
you
it,
watch
though.
people play golf, and it's what you're into. If you're into baseball and you like the things that are happening on the field, then you're going to love watching it. But if you're not, you're going to be, a soccer fan just watching everybody run back and forth.
Yeah, and I gotta say, just disclaimer: even though I do not care much for baseball or watching it, I have no hate or malice towards anybody who does enjoy it. Like, you do you. I enjoy soccer. You can give me crap all you want.
Mm-hmm. So offensively, I don't know. I don't wholeheartedly disagree with the take.
It's just there's so
Offensively,
much build up before.
I know,
the
and there's a lot of
pitches.
hurry up and wait.
Exactly.
And there's you step out the box, you knock the dirt off your cleats, you get your pre-pitch routine. Which the more you adhere to your pre-pitch routine, the better hitter you're going to be. But it takes time. You adjust the glove, adjust the hat.
I will say
Fix the
it's a
pants.
lot more enjoyable
1,
when
2.
you're actually there. If you're watching it on TV, like, it's vastly different. I know
Okay,
that's most
and that is something where
Well, I feel like on TV it's better to some extent because you've got the announcers chime in, you've got that conversation happening while the sport.
but you're subject to the director's camera shot.
Correct. You are subject.
You are subject to the director's camera shot, which in baseball and football, those are the two sports where it's most detrimental. Those are the two sports where you want in football, they're now showing on like side channels and whatnot, the all 22, where you see the shot from you see the same shot they look at when they're watching game film. Mm-hmm. I love that so much better. I don't need to see Peyton Manning yelling Omaha. Show me everybody on the line. Show me who's lined up where. I want to see the action breakdown before it breaks down.
Right.
I will say I've been to Ranger games when I lived in Dallas. Like, stadium experience is fun. It's very traditional. You get a hot dog, once I'm old enough, get a brew. Like, I can imagine the stadium experience makes up for it for sure.
All right.
It is a fun time in the stadium.
We're going to talk NFTs, NIL, and a whole lot more. Patrick Grimion's in to talk business next. All right, what do we got?
They want his head. Essentially, it's what it boils down to. They want Jake's head.
Let's see. Get the Riot to beat him like Barrett did Zambrano. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're not going to get the Riot involved in this one. No. Good thing I'm busy. I'll come. No other sport has the level of crotch adjusting and spitting. Bowling, and they're indoors.
They spit in bowling?
I assume so. I don't know.
Who do you think you are? I am.
I suppose some people are entertained by that. Well, I'm entertained by baseball. Baseball is a chess match in a world of checkers.
So I'm guessing are we going to use these cuts later on?
No. They were there in case the segment fell apart. It did.
He had little faith in you.
No. I wouldn't have put it out there if I didn't have faith. If you know nothing about baseball, you would think it's boring. Every pitch is a strategic play. But to the novice, it is nothing until the ball's in play. 1,000%. If you're in the batter's box and before the pitch is even thrown, you see third baseman scratch at his ass, lay down a bunt for a base hit. Like there's a million different little things that can go on along the way.
Yeah. Now I will be.
That if all you're subject to is that center field camera pointed right back, so you see that narrow view of pitcher, batter, catcher, umpire. That's all you need to see. That's where the action's at. Not really. It's where's the action going.
So I will be honest. I have fallen asleep during an Astros game in the stadium.
I've fallen asleep during games. It just
At the game.
All
What
sports.
woke me up was
I've fallen asleep during basketball
was
before.
the train horn and the cannon. That's what woke me up.
I thought it would have been the beating of the trash can, if anything.
No, they hit a home run, and I was like, I was startled awake.
Where can you have a 45-year-old beat down a 21-year-old snot nose? Here's the crazy thing about that, Eric. I don't know which 45-year-old you're talking about. Because you could be talking about Zambrano, but you could also be talking about Nolan Ryan whipping Robin Ventura's ass. That was glorious.
I will say baseball fights are the second most entertaining sports fights that isn't like UFC.
I'm guessing you're going to say hockey is number one.
Obviously.
They've got too many pads on.
They get some
I don't
damage
like
in,
any
dude.
I don't like any sports fights where the fight isn't the part of the sport though. Because like baseball fights there's a lot of one or two really good punches and then like 30 guys running around. Like there's too many hold me back guys. Just get out there and scrap, damn it.
Honestly, you could convince me that baseball has the most entertaining fights because when the dugout's clear and it just becomes a mob,
Right,
like
but
that's pretty cool.
What's
how
like
many
football
punches
fights?
Too many pads.
Too many pads. Same reasoning, I
You don't
guess.
like to see people get hurt.
I mean if you're going to fight,
Yeah.
you can't fight in a bubble.
What you mean, of course.
Oh, Eric was talking about Ventura. All right. There you go. The Rockies set the attendance record on opening day. Mardi Gras atmosphere. That's awesome. You didn't by any chance see... Oh, the Reds, when Joe Burrow was out throwing the first pitch?
Yeah.
Raucous. The Reds, yes, Moscona showed this on his show yesterday. The Reds yesterday, like 9 people at the game. It sucked.
And one of them wasn't Jake.
No.
Yeah.
That time Don Zimmer charged the mound. Oh, man. Yeah.
The mound charges are pretty interesting. But how often does it actually happen?
A fight in baseball?
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked up montages on YouTube. It's only about 20 minutes worth.
Yeah, like I've been to several LSU baseball games and never once seen somebody.
You don't
charge
see it
the
in
mound.
college.
Well, not in college. You're not getting.
Well, I've only been to one professional baseball game, so no mound charge had occurred then.
Yeah. That's tough.
I've never seen a mound charge. I once saw, I can't remember if it was 88 or 89. Eric Davis got hit by a pitch. Oh, God, Eric Davis. Talk about the Reds. Eric Davis got hit by a pitch and, like, stared the pitcher down and, like, slammed the bat on the ground, and the bat bounced. Like, well, he slammed off the plate. It wasn't the dirt. It bounced off the plate. But it bounced to where it came back almost like it bounced and like went up, and it was like even with the top of his head.
Wood or metal, do you know?
He should have grabbed it.
Wood or metal bat?
Wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
He should have just grabbed it and been like,
Yeah.
They don't use metal in pros, do
Walked off.
they?
They never use metal in the pros.
Okay.
that's like Little League stuff.
Yeah.
Broncos
Haven't
Russell
seen a while.
Wilson threw the first pitch in Denver. Awesome.
No, yeah, you got to check out the bananas on TikTok.
Yeah, I'll do it.
man.
I'll do it right now.
They're-
Let's enlighten
They're very
the what bananas?
Savannah.
Savannah bananas.
What a name,
I don't know.
Savannah Banana.
Savannah
So
banana
minor league
baseball.
baseball names have the potential to be the best and the potential to be the worst.
I looked him up on TikTok, and the first video that pulls up is some dude who is completely doing the splits on the. Okay.
The mound, and he throws the pitch.
No, he's batting.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the splits. Hold on.
I'm telling you, man, they get after it. They get wild. And they're like blaring music the
What?
whole time. And the stadium's packed.
Yeah.
Like it's a fully attended event.
Where is this?
Savannah's Georgia, right?
Georgia, man.
Oh wow.
I actually don't know if they're based in Georgia, but Savannah is in Georgia.
Yeah. All right. Time for y'all's segment.
638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to welcome in the host of the Patty G Show, Patrick Grimion. Patrick, what's happening, man?
Brian, it's Thursday.
Yeah,
It's
thanks.
4 days before tax deadline. So
Oh, yeah.
little beaten down, man.
Outside of the
Little
Patty
beaten down.
outside of the Patty G Show, Patrick Grimion, he plays a CPA from time to time. So Well, I mean, Franz does some lawyering every once in a while.
Yeah.
Haggai will check in in the computer world every so often. So,
This is true.
Let's talk business. Well, I tell you what, since we got you on and we are so close to tax time, why aren't they due until Monday?
I'm convinced just to make everyone in the public accounting world hate him even more.
Okay, because to me it feels like if you're given the opportunity to get it done by Friday and enjoy your Easter weekend, then get it done by Friday and enjoy your Easter weekend. But instead, and I'm looking out for you here.
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
appreciate it.
You're going to have to take calls on Saturday and Sunday.
I will. Yeah. If you haven't gotten your stuff in by then, like, come on.
If you're going to 10:30 Mass on Sunday,
Yeah.
and I hear a phone ring in the middle of Our Lady of Mercy, I know it's coming from your phone. You know what? I might call you in the middle of Mass with mine on silent
Brian.
just to
Don't
troll
you
you
do
a little
that.
bit.
Don't you do that
I
to
might
me.
do that just to see Father Cleo just stop mid-gospel.
Yeah. No, I think it was
Mid-homily. So it would be
mid-
Deacon
yeah.
Grant doing the gospel. Yeah.
Right. It's like, wait, what time of year is it? Oh, yeah, Patrick, you can step out.
Yeah.
No, I think it's to give everybody just a couple extra days because the last couple years, no one has had to experience a hard deadline for the tax, which is, I mean, you could head up in like February to file your 2020 tax return.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous how far they've been extended over the last years. And so I'm sure with that, just adding another weekend, I'm convinced they do it just because they hate us. But that's me.
I don't know. I've been done for a while now, so
Well, good. You
it's all
should.
good. Yeah.
You should.
When you need tuition help, it helps to get things done early.
Right, and then you have no idea if you are getting a refund how long it's going to take to get it back. I've got clients that are still waiting.
Don't need to know.
2 years to get it.
I don't need to know how long it's going to take. I just need to know what it is.
Yeah.
That's it. So, all right, NFTs are becoming a popular NIL revenue source for LSU student athletes. Grabbing this from the Business Report. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are becoming a more popular revenue source for LSU student athletes as well as with college athletes across the country. These student athletes can make money off of images, video clips, and digitized cartoon graphics of themselves, says Taylor Jacobs, compliance coordinator for LSU Athletics. It's something the department has tried to grasp and understand as best as it can, Jacobs says, in order to make sure athletes are navigating the space correctly. LSU Athletics hosted an NFT general information session with the football team a few months ago. GameCoin, a Baton Rouge-based cryptocurrency company, signed NIL deals with 61 different student athletes back in March. The deals mean those athletes can mint as many NFTs as they want and sell them on GameCoin's marketplace. So, I've not been a big NFT guy. I've had people try to explain to me why they're going to take over the world. I'm not seeing it. Now, not to dial back to our previous segment, but I've been a baseball card collector my whole life. No, not my whole life. As a child, I was, and I still have them. I don't actively collect. I'm not like sitting in,
Have you gone through them?
No, I haven't, and it's you. I'm hoping my wife's not listening because that's one of her triggers. When are you going to get rid of these things? They're just sitting there,
Like
and she's not
you have a
wrong.
shoebox full of them.
She's not wrong. I have 2 closets full.
Closets,
Closets.
Brian.
Oh yeah.
Like, are they like kept in plastic sleeves and maintained?
Most of them, yes. Some of them just big old cardboard 5,000 count boxes.
So then you need to go through those and see what you can put up on the bay and sell.
Yeah. So, but growing up, I collected baseball cards. And there was a very firm belief that one day these things are going to be worth a whole lot of money. Well, you know what happened? Topps, Don Russ, Fleer, Upper Deck, and all the rest of the baseball card companies, they flooded the market with product. And when the market was flooded with product, the value went down to nothing. And it's still at nothing 30 years later.
Except for some cards.
There's a few. There's a
I
few.
hear there's some gems in the rough that are worth some real
Yes.
money.
Yes,
But
there are.
Most of them, yeah. A buck here, a buck there.
From anything from, like, say, 85 to 2000, and then after 2000 they started making them all fancy and whatnot. But anything within that window of the late 80s and early to mid 90s, worthless. NFTs, I'm hard pressed to believe is going to be any different. We're going to see the market flooded with just Walker Howard doing this, Walker Howard doing that, Walker, like everything. And I'm just using him as one example, but they're going to flood the market with NFTs, and by and large, those are going to become just like what was the Pokemon stuff?
The Pokemon cards,
Yeah.
the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and all
Yeah, it's going to. How, from an NIL perspective, are athletes supposed to earn any kind of real money here off of a market that is going to be as volatile as this is?
That is ultimately the difficult question to answer. My thought is, if you're going to be doing this as a player, is don't create an abundance of them, right? Create yourself some value by not minting 1 million of them, you know? Get a limited edition. That's going to be worth more in value than if you minted 1 million of them and it's only 50 cents or whatnot. The trouble, though, that's going to come into this where they need to be careful this time of year, everybody thinks about it, is that revenue is going to be taxable, but you can't use the cryptocurrency to pay your taxes.
Is it taxable as an NFT, or is it only taxable once you've cashed out?
Once you sell it.
If you're trading, like, let's say you're trading NFTs for crypto, or you're trading crypto for crypto, or you're trading NFTs for other NFTs, as long as they remain outside of the cash end of it, you're not charged anything, right?
No, you are. If you go and you buy Ethereum for Bitcoin, that's a taxable transaction.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's any transaction is treated as property. So you're selling
It's capital gain.
Right. And
Okay.
It depends on how long you hold it. Will be short versus long-term capital gain. So if you take one
Interesting.
crypto and buy another crypto, you have to denote in U.S. dollars what that value was, what your basis was, calculate the difference, and that's your gain.
Okay.
It creates a very complex
Okay.
situation come tax time.
Hey, want to ask you another question about the NFTs, and I might be stepping on toes by asking this.
Okay.
Is the entire NFT world just an excuse, or this whole story, NFTs as NIL? Does it even matter what an NFT is worth, or is this just an excuse to write checks to players?
That. I think it's a way to, how can we pay players? Under the guise of this.
They don't have the NFT itself doesn't have to have value. It just, like, it could be an NFT, or it could be like a half-used pencil. And well, look at that half-used pencil. I'll give you $10,000 on the spot for it.
Yeah.
That's based off of how well you played last game.
And that in and of itself will create the value, right? They're going to say we want to pay it at that price. Now you've got value. Something is only as valuable as someone's willing to pay for it, right?
Right.
You could have a plot of dirt that nobody wants to give you any money for. It's worthless.
Right. But the value is based off of what someone is willing to pay for it, not based off of any kind of overall metric, overall valuation of it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of that space that people love. It's what are they going to perceive that value as? If I create 100 of these NFTs and that's all I've created, and I've got a great story behind it, I've got a great contract, I've got a great community on Discord talking about it and everything, that in and of itself will build up value. But it's not like it's not like when you're buying a house, right? They have comparable sales.
Yeah.
You know, if each project is unique, what are you comparing it to?
Right. An image of Keishon Butte catching a 5-yard out in the flat route is not going to be worth as much as an image of Keishon Butte catching a touchdown.
Right, or even like jumping over somebody catching it, and that GIF.
It puts points on the board. It's gonna collect.
Right.
All right. I want to stick with crypto, but we're going to move to a different topic when we come back. Right now, we're coming up where we need to break. Coming up at 6:47 to Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. We'll check your money now. We'll check traffic. Coming right back to talk a little more business with Patrick Grimmy on next.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to make the right decision.
What?
Leave money on the table.
Clinton Summers, is 10:30 service the one that gets live streamed? We may tune in just to watch you call PG.
It is the one that gets live streamed.
Yeah, Galen, you're right. The protection for the copyrights is going to be huge within that space.
And that's why NFTs are stupid. It's going to be physically impossible. This is the original. No, it's not. This is.
Well, no, you can.
Which one of you is the real Spider-Man? It's not going to be possible.
You can see it within the contract where it was minted, and you know who the creator of it was. And if someone else claims, you can backtrack to see where it was created. If it wasn't created by, Mr. Boutte, then it's not Mr. Boutte's original. It's a spinoff.
Well, it's not Mr. Boutte's original. He's the character in it.
But he can create. That's the thing with GameCoin. He can make it, mint it.
But he's not going to make it. A photographer or some kind of graphic designer is going to make
somebody
it.
will take it
and somebody
forward.
else can say, I did this, and here's the timestamp on it, because it just... The court battles are going to outweigh the value. Which is why I firmly believe this is nothing but, that's a nice NFT you got there. Here's 10 grand.
Good conversation for the the Franzi.
Hey, he's a
Legal-
defense
the
attorney.
legal
He's a
well, no. What's the legal studies? Have there been any on NFTs and copyrights and all that stuff?
not yet. Troy says NFTs will become an easy way for the athlete to provide his, her, they name, image, and likeness to earn the money. And that's all it's going to be.
Yeah, they now
it's
they
a
now can sell their
valueless-
own.
yeah.
They can sell their own trading cards.
So what I want to know is, as someone who is not the college athlete, how do I make money off of it? Because I don't want to be on the one who's paying. I don't want to be on the end who's paying the money off of it. And this is where GameCoin's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
From a crypto standpoint, because their valuation isn't based off of anything just yet. The fact that they're moving into this space means they're moving into the space where how much revenue is going to be generated off of all the boosters and all the collectors and every sports fan ever who would have gone and paid thousands upon thousands of dollars for an autographed jersey is now going to pay for this instead.
Right. Well, and now, so you, Brian, as the individual, can go and purchase a player at your scenes coming up in the ranks. Mm-hmm. If they've got some NFTs, you can go and purchase them early for cheap. And then once all the people flood to the market and start buying it, you can then sell it to them.
You need to pause this after this, huh? Tiger Rag Radio. There it is. All right. They have 60 and they fill it with 230s.
The Zurich was back to back.
That happens a lot. I can't get in on NFTs. I've been having.
I mean, it's your digital baseball cards,
right?
And some may have more to it than that. Like maybe they host like an annual get together, and you got to own an NFT to get in. You can build.
Or that's like that. So that's a baseball card convention with a player signing autographs.
Yeah. So hey, you can come hang out with the players, but you got to have an NFT to get in. That's your ticket at the door.
Yeah.
You got to own one. You got to show it to them to get in.
Think of it as owning a music album, which is not an original, but owning this particular legal copy of some original work. Okay, but it's more like owning an album that looks exactly like the original and can't be proven to not be the original and is of the same quality as the original.
But see, that's the thing. It can be proven.
It can't. Everything online can be faked.
You're not wrong there. But see, if you get some players...
No, he really is a Nigerian prince. No. This one's written different than the other ones. Bro, I'm down to the last.
You need a new belt, man.
I know. I need a new shirt. I need new pants. I need a new belt.
You need a new wardrobe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so Troy says, agree. Uncertainty of NFT valuation will be advantageous for overpaying until markets establish. That's the thing, though. When markets establish and it drops way, way down and levels out, traditionally, I'm the jackass left holding the bag. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I have horrible luck.
Well, but that's looking at it from the pessimistic approach that it's going to drop.
The blockchain will be the most objective proof of ownership. Blockchain is the one thing that has me big on crypto.
Well,
I don't know why I can't make that translate to NFTs.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the NFTs are built on the blockchain.
Okay.
Like that's the same thing with the crypto transactions. You can see on the blockchain when it was done, and who it was done by, and who it was between.
Right.
It's the same thing with NFTs. You can see who minted it.
Okay. No,
when it was minted, and all the transactions involved with it.
So
you can see it started off at 0.001 Ethereum.
Hey, did you? What was the other topic you were on? Was it Gulf Coast?
Yeah, it was Gulf Coast.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
But. Talking business with Patrick Grimion. We do it every Thursday. We're in the crypto space today. If you're watching on YouTube, it's fantastic feedback on YouTube, by the way. trying to convince me that there's going to be value to NFTs. I'm not there, and I don't know that I'm going to get there. It's a sandbox I don't want to play in. Now, crypto, I'm all in. Now, if you were watching on YouTube, you know the discussion got around the blockchain during the break, and the argument from Troy is the blockchain will be the most objective proof of ownership. I'm of the belief that there's nothing online that can't be faked. There's nothing online, there's nothing digital that can't be a complete manufactured, like, bogus thing. I'm of the belief that financial catfishing is going to be a thing.
Right, but in the same breath, you say that the blockchain and crypto is something you can lean on.
Blockchain and crypto is something that can protect you from having fake money stolen.
Okay.
You can prove time of transaction via blockchain. You cannot prove authenticity.
How can you not prove authenticity if you can prove the time in which the transaction occurred and where it occurred from?
In so much as it's going to protect me and my dollars, not determine who created something.
Right, but can't you trace that all the way back and see who did?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not going to pretend to know that deep of what of the blockchain. This is a term that I didn't know existed a year ago.
Right.
You know, it's all new to us, and I'm walking into this very skeptically.
Which, I mean, as anything new, you know, you should. You want to make sure you're aware of what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. Now, the trouble going back to the players and the NFTs is like we were saying beforehand, that payment and receiving, like for GameCoin, for example, they're going to receive their GameCoin tokens and that currency from selling these items. Well, like we said before, now you've got a taxable transaction that's not recognized as a legal tender. How do you pay the tax on that? Without a legal tender, how do you... Now you've got to convert it, and that's another game, that's another transaction.
I don't know.
It's messy.
It's going to be very, very messy, especially if you keep it all in that space.
Well, and then, so do you have any crypto? Do you have any crypto?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right.
So there are some people that have multiple wallets, that have multiple different coins that are trading in multiple times. All of that has been a headache this year, especially because it's gotten so popular with people and so mainstream that when we're doing tax returns and we're having to go through all these people's wallets, I've got to go through every transaction that occurred in 2021, establish a U.S. dollar value to it, and determine what their gain or loss was for the year versus short and long term. And if they've got six wallets...
establish U.S. dollar value based on when?
You have to do the timestamp.
Because by the time... Okay, but by the time you've established a value, that value's already changed.
But it's at that time. So if you purchased X number of coins...
Bro... Go back 20 minutes later, it'll bottom out, and then you don't have to pay taxes on it. And then come back 20 minutes after that, you're a millionaire.
Yeah. And it's all done at that time when you had the transaction. This is why I said it's been a long 4 months, Brian.
No, I'm out.
But other people are getting in.
No, I know. And believe it or not, weirdly enough, as much as I'm skeptical of NFTs, I'm all in on GameCoin, especially with their NFT announcements. No, it's weird because from an individual NFT perspective, I don't know that I could buy in. But by utilizing that as a basis for your crypto, you know there's going to be value because it's based off of something everybody else believes in.
Right, but can't they just fake it on the GameCoin platform, Brian?
No, because now you're talking about the actual exchanges and you're talking about cashing out. It's not based off of the product, it's based off of the exchange.
Right, but can't someone get on there and create a fake NFT?
Probably.
And then start pulling money from you?
Probably. Oh, no, not pulling money from you. That's where blockchain
start selling it.
We're way too down the rabbit hole. I want to talk about Gulf Coast Bank.
Okay.
This also coming from the business report. They're getting into the crypto game as well.
They are, which is, it's exciting to see, a bank start acknowledging these transactions, which is smart on their part to become a certified exchange.
Yeah.
That's US based, right?
Yeah.
And having that in-house is going to be huge for them. Wait till they start able to lend out in crypto.
No.
Oh, it's coming, Brian.
No.
It's coming, Brian.
No.
You're gonna start finding. So within the NFT space, right? So people can now tokenize homes, and you can sell a home via a smart contract and an NFT. Now a bank can lend crypto to purchase the NFT, which is now a tangible home.
Mm-hmm.
That's full. Now you're coming full circle in the crypto space.
So security is going to be one of their main concerns.
Which is huge. There's so many exchanges that have been hacked. There's so many wallets that can be, like, people can have their wallets hacked by phishing attempts. That is going to be a huge element that I'm surprised they announced it's only going to take 90 days to create this thing.
Yeah.
That is what kind of threw me off the wire. I was like, 90 days? You're saying you're going to be very concerned with cybersecurity and making this exchange secure and safe for people, but yet you're going to turn it around in 90 days. What type of infrastructure are you building to make sure that happens?
You don't have to have it all built on day one, though. You're not getting hacked on day one would hope.
Well,
You're going to have
the least secure day. That's the day I'm getting my
But it's
virus.
also going to be the least invested day as well. I should say the least invested day.
If you plant it in there, then when everybody does come in, you've already got your virus in the system.
But that's assuming the virus will stay there undetected.
Good.
I don't know. Shout out to Gulf Coast Bank, because this is going to be, if nothing else, fun to watch. What's coming up on the Patty G Show?
Mike Polito of Map Construction.
Oh, okay.
He was a fun time, man.
Yeah?
Learn about I threw a jab right out the gate whenever I told him he'd been in business longer than I've been alive.
Ooh. You know where to find
it was fun. He was fun.
You know where to find it everywhere you get your podcasts, and of course in the Saturdays on Demand block of programming right here on Talk 107.3. He is Patrick Grimion. We always appreciate the time.
Thank you, Brian.
Here comes CP. Oh. No worries. People valuing fake stuff. I call it the Kardashian effect. I know. All right, I got to go back to Galen's comment one more time. Think of it as owning a music album, which is not an original, but owning this particular legal copy of some original work. Digital music is wide open for copying, but NFTs provides solution. So the album itself was printed 1 billion times. The original reel-to-reel or whatever was in the studio when it was recorded would be where the value would be. But there's only one of those.
Same thing with the NFT. There's only one of those originals once it's minted.
I don't.
Like imagine,
there's a lot that has to be sifted through from that.
And that goes back to the blockchain technology. Seeing that original minted, you know when it was originally created. And once that is determined to be the original, all other fakes that are created can then be backtracked to that exact address. If it doesn't line up, it's fake.
First down of LSU football this year, assuming a touchback. Miles Brennan hands off to John Emery. John Emery runs for a 75-yard touchdown.
Clip.
Right. But belonging to whom? And from what angle? And from what camera?
That's a good question. Okay, now I see where you're getting at.
Okay.
So maybe because there's a
you're going to have 24 reporters
right.
in the end zone. You're going to have thousands of fans with their phones out. The number of people who are going to stop watching sports to film them in the off chance that they're going to create their own NFT that's not going to belong to them because it's going to belong to the character that's inside the image or the university who is represented. Or do you have to read the back of your ticket and there's no longer a printed ticket to read? You have to read the fine print that says any digital image created within Tiger Stadium belongs to Louisiana State University? Because it damn well ought to.
Ooh.
Any reproduction or rebroadcast of this transmission without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited by law. Same thing in the NFT space. So you're going to have thousands upon thousands of quote-unquote NFTs that aren't real.
Well, they're real. They're just illegally obtained.
Right.
And then you got to get into the question of who polices that. Who watches that? Who brings down the hammer and says stop?
If I catch a home run ball from Pete Alonso, that ball has value, and it now belongs to me because that's part of a baseball game. You catch a home run ball, you catch a foul ball, it's yours, right? This would be the same thing from an image perspective, from a digital ones and zeros perspective. And by the way, at the end of the day, it's all ones and zeros, which means it can be created anywhere, anytime.
I don't know. It's an interesting space, Brian.
Ha! Debbie says, glad I'll retire before all the banks start using crypto. Countdown is out.
Unless you're retiring in the next 90 days.
Right. I got to get Gulf Coast on here. They're overdue to come on anyway.
Yeah.
I need them on the show.
Get them to talk about that. Get them to talk, will they lend out crypto to purchase assets?
You're
the exchange.
It's so muddying the waters.
So you're the exchange, right? So you're charging a transaction fee every time I'm buying and selling on your exchange. That means they're building up their own crypto bank account, essentially. So at what point do you start lending and leveraging your crypto accounts to let people use and purchase? When can I say I want to buy a home in Bitcoin and go to Gulf Coast? Say, hey, I need to borrow 2 Bitcoin to purchase a vehicle.
Right.
Or I need to borrow.
No. I understand what you're saying, but I'm wondering, wouldn't the car dealer would have to approve that? The loan officer would have to approve that.
Well, you've got like Tesla accepting stuff like that.
Right. But I don't see.
So now I can finance my Tesla in Bitcoin from Gulf Coast.
Yeah, but Ross Downing out of Hammond isn't taking it.
Not yet.
Ralph Sellers isn't taking it.
Yet. To me, it all goes back to until it's accepted as legal tender, it's going to be very hard to get people to use it on the mainstream.
That's the right answer.
Because when I was reading the IRS regulations this morning on crypto, and it's like it's not accepted as legal tender, which means you can't pay your tax bill with it.
You can be taxed on it, but you can't pay your taxes with it.
Correct.
How asinine! Well, no. If I buy a Picasso, I can be taxed. If I sell a Picasso, I can be taxed, but I can't rip off a corner of the painting and say here.
Right, but you got a legal tender for the Picasso.
Right.
Unless you sell it with unless someone purchases it with crypto, then you have to cash out and get to a legal tender to pay your taxes on it.
Right.
And then you have to pay on any gains in the meantime.
As long as you have to get back around to a legal tender anyway, why don't we just keep it with the damn legal tender? You trade it as a commodity or whatever, fine. But it has to remain a commodity. I can't pay. I cannot pay my taxes in concentrated frozen orange juice.
Because they don't like
That's
it.
a Trading Places reference.
They don't like it when you start making different cookie jars.
Beeks is coming in with the report.
They can't get their hands in the cookie jar.
I know.
We have one cookie jar, Brian. You can have as many cookie jars as you want, but you have to pay our cookie jar from our cookie jar.
I know.
But we want a piece of all yours. We just can't use. We don't want your sugar cookies. Only chocolate chips.
Thank you. 706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. That discussion did not slow down heading into the break. Thanks again to Patrick Gremion, host of the Patty G Show, for stopping by. So many different pitfalls when it comes to crypto, when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to everything else that is going to go into where we're headed. Debbie says on YouTube, glad I'll retire before all banks start using crypto. Countdown's on. I hope you've got that retirement date set because the countdown is most certainly on. All right, we're going to get you to Top Stories and Trending in just a minute. Hey, Everyday Top Stories and Trending is presented by the folks over at Complete Collision Center, so now would be a darn good time for me to remind you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. 768-9898 is their phone number. 768-9898 is their phone number. Now, I need to let you know that when you get into an accident, if you've been in an accident, you already know this. You call your insurance company, and they're going to have a pretty good idea of where they want you to take their car. Where they want you to take your car, excuse me. That's because they have deals hammered out with a number of different repair shops. It's called direct repair. Complete Collision Center is not under a contract with any insurance company to do repairs for them. That's important because it means you're the customer, not Flo from Progressive, not Limu Emu. You are the customer, not the Affleck duck. Rest in peace, Gilbert Gottfried. You are the customer. 768-9898 gets you through to either location, Plank Road in Zachary or Perkins just east of Bluebonnet. CompleteCollision.com is the website. CompleteCollision.com is where you can learn more about their certifications like the iCar Gold Class certification and the like. Check them out online. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. Time for Top Stories and Trending. Let's roll. State Senator Rick Ward is tired of the politics behind what he says should be a no-brainer. Disagreements in the state capitol over a new bridge are leading lawmakers in circles. That's why he is using social media to his advantage to create a campaign in favor of building the new Mississippi River Bridge. Looking for that $500 million down payment on the bridge. We're going to have that commercial. We'll play it for you as part of the last segment of the show right here. We've had Senator Ward on talking about this in the past. We'll have him talking about it in the very near future. The debate over whether or not a $500 million investment in a new bridge is what he's talking about, not the bridge itself. 2 days... Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at this because our money's being wasted. 2 days after the Capital Area Transit System ousted their CEO, Bill DeVille, decisions are still being made on what he's going to do next as the board allowed him to continue to collect his $200,000 per year salary. Monday, Dwana Williams was appointed the interim CEO. Her salary is currently in negotiations. She declined to comment, smart move, at a meeting held yesterday. Quote, "We look forward to working with you and moving on and moving forward," Vice President Linda Perkins told Williams. Thank you very much. Perkins said she would like to see DeVille move on from the bus system entirely. Don't know if DeVille wants to give up that $200K per year. Perkins says we don't need two CEOs. By the way, all this lunacy, nearly a $30 million per year budget. It comes out of yours and mine, tax dollars. Go mop the floor, Bill. That's not a $200,000 mopping job you did. Go do it again. Clean the windows. A man died Wednesday after a vehicle crashed and burst into flames in the middle of a busy interstate. According to the Baton Rouge Fire Department, did you see that? Okay, there's a lot of pictures, images at WBRZ.com. According to the Baton Rouge Fire Department, the driver's car hit the guardrail near the North 22nd Street exit, flipped onto its side, then caught fire. The driver was trying to get out of the car, but he died when he was deceased by the time first responders had arrived. Witnesses reported hearing what sounded like gunfire at the scene, though firefighters said the sounds were the tires on the car exploding. The coroner's office was called out to investigate the death. A man was charged with the murder of a 63-year-old man after that victim died in the hospital 10 days ago. BRPD said 49-year-old Percy Cage III was involved with the death of Rodney Knighton, who was severely beaten and found in the 1100 block of North Acadian East Thruway back on December 21st of last year. Knighton died in the hospital on April 3rd. That's my mom's birthday. That's Perfita's birthday. Cage was arrested on January 19th for attempted murder, rebooked for second-degree murder yesterday. Sad story to end on here. A 3-year-old resting in his bed was killed by a stray bullet after a gunfight erupted outside of his home Tuesday night. Officers swarmed the neighborhood located on Fairfields Avenue just off of North Foster Drive around 11 p.m. According to BRPD, police taped off a perimeter around the house where the toddler was shot, found what appeared to be shell casings on a sidewalk outside the home. We reported on this briefly yesterday morning. There weren't a whole lot of details, so we've got more on the story this morning. Investigators suspect the gunfire came from a shootout that unfolded in front of the property, and the child's home was not the intended target. Sources told our news partners at WBRZ that the incident Tuesday night might be tied to another shooting that happened recently on North Ardenwood Drive. The killing also happened next door to the site of another shooting on Fairfields Avenue, where police said shots were fired into a home just days earlier. In that shooting, police said a child was hurt by bullet fragments after someone opened fire on a house late Sunday night. Those two shootings were not connected, though. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Can we take you to Florida for something that seems like it can only happen in Florida? Although I wouldn't be shocked if it happened elsewhere. Lake County, Florida. A woman was arrested after she allegedly put a 4-year-old child she was babysitting into a dryer and turned it on. 35-year-old Amber Chapman put a young boy in the dryer alongside some towels. The child was later brought to a local hospital back on February 1st, where he told adults she had put him in the machine and he went round and round. Quote, went round and round. He also told his parents he was in a lot of pain afterwards. Medical staff noted the boy had bruises on his back, ears, and face. Chapman was arrested on April 8th, booked on a charge of aggravated child abuse. Those are your top stories in trending. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Senator Bill Cassidy talks Operation Warp Speed, but for the energy sector, next. Found my pencil. No, he's supposed to call us. .716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to check in with Senator Bill Cassidy, who is currently on recess, though I don't think he knows how to recess. He's meeting after meeting, stop after stop. Senator Cassidy, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, Brian, and this will be my best stop of the day. So good to talk to you.
Glad to have you on, and I appreciate the compliment. You were busy yesterday out at the West Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce. I saw where Citizens Bank was one of the sponsors of their event, and then you go from one side of the river to the other to talk to the state legislature. What was the nature of what you had to talk about at the state legislature?
Well, the state legislature, we got an incredible opportunity in our state to not just catch up with the states around us, but to move our economy to prepare for 2050, to right now establish the baseline by which a company chooses to locate in Louisiana. Now, it's all related to the infrastructure bill. Mm-hmm. First, it helps catch up our infrastructure, our bridges, our roads. But it also positions us for the future. On Monday, I drove up to Evangeline Parish. They just got money from the federal dollars, $30 million, to build out high-speed internet in Evangeline Parish. The mayor up there in Ville Platte, Jennifer Vadrine, she points out that out of over 3,000 parishes and counties in the country, Evangeline is fifth worst. After this, they will be the best. Their hashtag is hashtag worst to first. Now, you talk about economic development. Now a company can move there with a distribution center because they have high-speed internet. Now they can get the parents to move there because they know their child can log on and learn their lessons online. Or they can get telehealth, or the mother or father can Zoom to work in another city. They can watch Netflix on Saturday night. It becomes incredible economic development. That'll be across the state. And then lastly, all these Fortune 500 companies have sustainability requirements. They want to address their emission profile in this bill. And so after going to Evangeline Parish, I went to Grant Parish. Beautiful parish. They just need more jobs.
Yeah.
And CLECO, the utility, is building they have a coal-fired plant. They're going to begin to capture 95% of their emissions as they build the pipelines to push those emissions into a reservoir just beneath the coal-fired plant. They had a consultant there for companies that want to select sites, and they said as these companies try and fulfill their sustainability requirements, they will locate next to a place like where CLECO is, because then they have a place where they can store their emissions. So this is not just about catching up on our roads and bridges. It's about pushing us forward with universal access to high-speed internet, and then having the economic draw of a place that companies can offset their emissions by sequestration. The infrastructure bill helps all that, and I think it just positions Louisiana beautifully.
And it walks us right up to, I honestly thought it was going to take 3 questions to get here, and we're doing it in one. It walks us right up to an energy operation warp speed. because when you're talking about sequestration, when you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about everything from needing a new Mississippi River bridge to every energy-based job that's in Louisiana. You are pitching Energy Operation Warp Speed. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so the Trump administration, they said it would take 2 to 10 years to get a vaccine for coronavirus. With Operation Warp Speed, we have people getting shots within 10 months of starting the process. Congress had given those agencies the ability to speed things through, and they weren't using the tools. Coronavirus, boom, we better use those tools. Now, when it comes to these sorts of issues, we need permitting reform. And so right now the Europeans need energy to wean themselves off of Russian energy. We need energy to lower the price at the pump and to lower the price of our bills. By the way, creating American energy creates American jobs. So inflation, allies, geopolitical, creating more jobs. But the administration's bureaucracy ties it in knots. One example, we talked about the carbon capture sequestration and how that's an economic draw. Dow Chemical would like to see that here. It creates more jobs in Plaquemine Parish. The state of Louisiana has been asking EPA to give the state permission to start permitting these different sequestration wells. And EPA has been sitting on this application since October of last year. Not in Washington, in Dallas. They've not even finished on their regional office to forward it to D.C. And so they are slowing down. Theoretically, they want to do something positive for the environment. They're slowing down Louisiana's attempt to do so by bureaucratic inertia. Now, we just need to, boom, light a fire, blow it up. Let's get going. Let's start permitting these wells, these not just sequestration, but more oil and gas wells, the pipelines that bring it to our factories. Let's lower our costs. Let's help the Europeans. Let's create some jobs. We need to do that with an Operation Warp Speed for energy.
How broad does this need to be? How narrow does or how narrow can it be? Because I feel like the broader it gets, and this is something that you know all too well, Congress gets in the way of, the broader it gets, the longer it's going to take to get done.
We have a moment in time where the folks who would normally try and slow it down have no excuse. We've got prices at the pump that people can't afford. We have groceries. The high cost of groceries very much is related to the high cost of energy. Natural gas helps make fertilizer. So when the cost of gas is high, the cost of fertilizer is high, the cost of your groceries are higher, plus it takes more energy to transport it to the grocery store. So if you care about the family, kind of how do I pay my bills? If you care about creating better paying jobs in the United States of America, if you care about helping our European allies who right now in some countries depend upon Russia for 90% of their natural gas, if you care about the climate in terms of you want to decrease carbon emissions, now is the moment. They all come together like right now. So if somebody wants to slow it down for one of those issues, they're hurting the other three. That's why we need the Operation Warp Speed. Boom. Nails it. Let's go. We get all four. Whichever one you don't like, I'm sorry, you're going to get the other three, and you like those other three more.
It seems that when it comes to energy, there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar, and everyone's opinion kind of bubbles up to the top. How do you streamline those opinions? I mean, is it you laid it out right there? This seems like it's going to need a lot of people rowing in the same direction, though.
It is, absolutely. Ultimately, you need the president to get on board because the president is who directs the bureaucracy in a direction. Frankly, I could get discouraged about that because I don't think Biden, I just won't go there, but that's not his natural thing. The only thing that matters is right now there's Americans who can't afford to fill up their pickup trucks. There's good Americans that just cannot afford to do it right in terms of the groceries they buy for their store. And we have allies banging on us to send them more gas. Because we got to take care of ourselves, we also have to help our allies. Whenever you read about atrocities in Ukraine, in fact, I was driving to Shreveport. I was going through the Haynesville Shale, and I saw all that gas production. I thought to myself, my gosh, northwest Louisiana and then the coast of Louisiana where we export this gas is on the front lines of the fight against Russia, on the front lines against the atrocities in Ukraine. Because if we provide gas to Europe and the rest of the world, Russians lose money. They can't build their war machine. And ultimately, they're going to build that war machine to attack someone closer to us. So we're on the front lines. The president should get his kind of mind focused on that and get the bureaucracy in gear. I'm trying to embarrass them to do so.
Yeah, every conversation I have with anybody on the left, when we talk about being a Russia-free, as I believe you put it back in March, having a Russia-free energy policy, it always comes back around to just getting rid of fossil fuels. And I think everyone would acknowledge that while there's room for growth, we're just not there.
So I talked to the president of the largest utility in Germany. And he goes, let's just imagine magically we could have more renewables tomorrow. He goes, Germans heat their homes with natural gas. So it's not just having more electrons from wind and solar. It's you got to rip out all the heating systems across Germany, and you got to replace it with something that would run on electrons from renewables as opposed to natural gas. That's not going to happen. Their fear is that next winter will be cold and they won't have the amount of gas they need. By the way, they also have a huge chemical industry right there. BASF, which is an Ascension Parish's mother company, is in the Ruhr Valley. They use fossil fuel for those plastics and chemicals. There's no other way to make them right now except for those fossil fuels. They talk about maybe having to shutter down that industry with losing those jobs in order to heat their homes. So renewables are great. We can build them out. We can have an argument whether or not it's sustainable for a modern economy. But you can't say it's working right now for the Germans, and that's just one country. There's a lot more over there with those same problems.
Senator Bill Cassidy is our guest. I got to tell you, when we saw the success of Operation Warp Speed, in fact, I believe you and I were talking about this. I said, why can't we do this with everything?
Yeah, and part of it is that it just absorbs all the energy. Think of all the medical research that wasn't done.
No pun intended.
Yeah, really. Because all the researchers were focused upon getting the coronavirus vaccine. Mm-hmm. So, you got to sometimes work on a lot of things all at once as opposed to one over time as opposed to one thing all at once. But when it comes to energy, now, with prices at the pump, with our allies, with the hope that we're going to jumpstart some of these projects that industry wants in terms of sequestration, now's the time to work on this all at once.
Couldn't agree more. And when you do it this way, when you have a hyper-focused goal, you avoid paralysis by analysis. You avoid turning a thoroughbred into a camel just through debate. We showed results. We can show results again. Hey, while you're on recess, what else you got on tap? What else you got planned?
Yeah, so this week went to Evangeline Parish, Shreveport, Monday and Tuesday, and then yesterday was here in Baton Rouge and West Baton Rouge, and today I'm going down to New Orleans, and then I'll take Good Friday off. But just trying to meet with folks around the state, see what's happening, what can I learn, how can I make things better for this state.
Senator Bill Cassidy, you know what, before I get you out of here, there's a lot of people talking about what's going to happen in the gubernatorial election next year. Are we anywhere near knowing what your plans are going to be? I couldn't let you out without asking.
I'm chuckling because I didn't know I was running for governor until somebody wrote an article that I was thinking about running for governor. Then I said, okay, I'll think about it. Then somebody asked me if I was thinking about it. I said, yeah, somebody raised the issue. They said, oh, then he's thinking about running for governor.
Amazing how that works, isn't it?
But I'm going to, believe me, it's an honor. People are approaching me to do it. Whatever reason, maybe I'm just honored to be doing it. I'll decide somewhere probably in November. I got so much stuff I'm working on right now. I just want to stay focused on that. And then when this clears up, then we can move on to the next decision. Going back to you want to stay focused, I'm trying to stay focused. At the end of this, then we'll make our decision.
He is Senator Bill Cassidy, gracious with his time this morning. We always appreciate it. Good luck down in New Orleans, and have yourself a happy Easter, sir.
You too, sir, and to all the listeners.
Absolutely. 729 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. There's no way I wasn't going to at least ask about it. And honestly, I kind of knew the answer before I asked. Someone writes an article saying he's running for governor. It's like, oh, there's an interesting prospect. So are you thinking of running for governor? Well, I am now. It's all I could think of now. I'm getting you to news here in just a minute. Got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. They've got two locations, 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Husha 2. The 5th annual truckload sale continues. If you've not yet experienced the truckload sale, you need to. The 5th annual truckload sale continues. There are too many deals, too many discounts, too many name brand mattresses to go through them in a 60-second spot, so I'm just going to tell you. Go see Mitch. Go try out mattresses. Go lay down on them. Fall asleep if you want to. He's going to get you out the door with the most affordable mattress possible and financing if you need it, although with the deals he's got going, you might not need it. But on top of that, mention my name, you get free delivery and a free pillow, and that's good at either location. 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City or the corner of Jefferson and Husha 2 for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. All right, we've got our Crimestoppers segment coming up next. The folks from Eye Care are stepping in to talk about the Bridge Center. We've covered the Bridge Center a little bit in the past, but this is going to be a bit of a deeper dive, and I'm really looking forward to this. So Crimestoppers, Eye Care, and the Bridge Center coming your way in just a little bit. First, let's get you caught up with CBS News and our own local news, traffic, and weather right now on Talk 107.3. He's buying more of Twitter. Nothing at all. What's going on, brother? You good? Apparently, I wasn't supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sean likes it Emory?
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't matter. Either one of those will be fine.
All right. Hey, I'm trying to figure out how to get you this video for the last segment of the show. It's on Rick Ward's Facebook page, and it's not letting me share via email. Oh, there it is. More options. Hang on. Sorry. I'm an idiot. Mail. Jake. Sean Langston Emery.
Yes. And you can skip around any of that.
Well, this is the Bridge Center. This is across from
Yes.
BR General.
The Bridge Center.
Yeah.
You've,
Well, because one of the questions is how has COVID interfered with the delivery of services? Y'all basically opened in the middle of COVID.
we opened in the middle
Yeah.
of it, and we kept on road.
Yeah.
So you don't have to ask that, or you?
No, I'm going to. It's
Yes.
more along the lines of what's it like opening in the middle of a pandemic,
Oh,
but
it's, I mean, the protocols and all that, but I mean, we didn't stop. Crisis didn't stop.
no,
We
crisis
didn't stop.
worsened.
It did.
So,
So, yeah.
yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I think it's long term. Get a couple of years under y'all's belts, and you're going to be a game changer.
I believe it. We're already
It's just-
seeing it.
I know.
We're already seeing it.
Yeah.
But really, yeah, for the community to understand what we do. Many times they don't quite understand. I mean, it's been a great collaboration.
Well, no, we understand. We understand crime and punishment. This is a third option, a different door. That
And that's funny because one of the questions is because we consider ourselves a no wrong door.
okay.
That's our policy. No wrong door.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's about keeping your eye on the ball long enough not to let new headlines be distractions or any anecdotal evidence being a conclusion.
Right.
Well, we're still seeing the problem. Yeah, of course we are.
Of
The
course.
problem built up over decades and generations.
Right.
It's not going to be solved overnight.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
You got through the storm okay?
Yeah. We did.
So loud.
I mean,
It was so
the storm
loud all
last
night.
night.
Yeah.
And from the hurricane in August, we had a tree that's bigger than this room that fell, and half of it was there. I was like, thank God. We just now got the second half of it cut down a few days ago, and I was like, oh my God, that would have been in my roof,
What part of town do you live in?
like a Highland and Segan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, the tree.
Yeah.
The bigger, like from probably where he is, huge, like, and amazing. It,
We
like,
had-
hit 4 different houses, part of it, and then there was
Really?
another- oh yeah, I mean it was so tall. They were trying to figure out how to get the thing down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if we wouldn't have gotten that down on Monday, that would have been on our house.
Definitely. That's we had. So I live in Sherwood, and we had 2 water oaks in the backyard.
Oh no.
Both of them had been hit by lightning at some point,
Oh
so they were still up, still partially alive.
yeah.
But
They come-
you don't get a good night's sleep if it's going to rain and you're going to have a half-dead tree in your yard. So we just had them removed.
No, that was it. As of that tree, this whole portion was rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Very excited about this installment of Crime Stoppers because, sometimes Lieutenant Coppola comes in and we talk about catching some bad guys, and sometimes we talk about a different approach. And when we team up with the folks from iCare, that's where we head, and that's what we're doing today. Want to welcome in Sean Langston Emery from the Bridge Center. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you? Excited to be here.
Glad to have you on here.
Thank you.
Because everything the Bridge Center from its inception has been a different approach, and it's been exciting is not the right word because we're talking about real people and real pain and
Yes.
real crime as well. But it has you're already showing results. I tell you what, let's back up to the beginning. For those that aren't familiar with the Bridge Center, let's start by talking a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and what is the Bridge Center, and why are you here today?
All right. Well, my name is Sean Langston Emery, and I am the program director of the Bridge Center for Hope, and I'm a licensed professional counselor, a licensed addiction counselor, and many people may not know, but the Bridge Center for Hope is a crisis receiving center. It's the first of its kind in the state of Louisiana, so it actually is an opportunity for people to receive crisis services. And anybody can have a crisis. And
Yeah.
so we are a crisis receiving center, so people can come and they can come to be stabilized. Attached to that is a short-term psychiatric, and attached to that is a detoxification center. Yeah.
Let's walk through that a little bit, because there's a lot to unpack there. There's traditionally, you see someone with facing addiction,
Yes.
acting out in public.
Yes.
You call the cops.
Yes.
Cops make the arrest.
Absolutely.
Throw them in jail.
Yes.
They do whatever time they're supposed to do in jail, and then they're right back out in the
Right.
wild, and then
Yes.
rinse, repeat.
Absolutely.
The Bridge Center provides a different level of service. Let's walk
Yes.
through those services. Walk us through an example of someone coming through your front door.
So if somebody comes to our front door, they ring the doorbell, and we basically say we have a no wrong door. So anybody can be in a crisis at any time. So if they identify as having any kind of mental health crisis, emotional crisis, substance use crisis, they can just ring the front door, as opposed to them going and, let's say, the police pick them up. Well, there are two doors, so let's go through the front door. The front door would be voluntary. They realize there's a crisis, their family member, they come, and they're able to come in, and basically we get them in within, a short period of time, and they will be assessed, and then we'll pretty much triage them, figure out what needs to be done, and then we'll get them to our stabilization unit. And or if law enforcement, the scenario that you gave, law enforcement picks them up, and instead of bringing them, let's say, to Parish Prison, or going to an emergency room where they have to stand and wait for 12 hours or what have you, they're able to bring them to the Bridge Center. And what we like about this is law enforcement is able to come. They don't have to triage mental health crisis.
Right.
They don't have to figure out what you have to do. It's bring them to us, and we'll have law enforcement in and out of the door within 5 minutes. Basically, our average time is 3.5 minutes. You come, you bring them, and then we figure out what they need and what needs to be done with them.
What's that transition been like from the law enforcement standpoint? Because what we know as a society is there's crime and punishment.
Yes.
And the law enforcement, the police officer's job is see bad guy, catch bad guy.
Yes.
But when we have Chief Paul on the show, he talks about how he's arresting his people are arresting the same people over and over and over again. Now, there's a judicial problem on that, and that's not for today's discussion.
Right.
But there is the problem with addiction is it's not solved by throwing somebody in a cell for a little while. So has it been more of a roadblock? Has there been a lot of pushback from a law enforcement standpoint of adopting this new method of handling things?
Actually, law enforcement has been relieved because guess what? They don't have to go and book and process and spend that amount of time. Actually, it's an option for them. And so law enforcement, we really have not necessarily received that much pushback because we are collaborating. We are partnership, and we're giving them another option.
Right.
And so many of these people, the recidivism, many of the people that they see, the people need treatment. You can put somebody in jail because they are, let's say, on heroin or now fentanyl, because there's of course this epidemic, and they're going to be in the prison. They're going to be withdrawing in there, and that's an option. As soon as they come out, they're going to use again. What we want to do is we want to connect them with community partners, and so that they can receive treatment. We need to identify what their needs truly are.
Yeah.
And that's why we do all kinds of assessments. By the time, within the first 23 hours, first 6 hours, we do a clinical assessment, a psych assessment, a nursing assessment, drug screens. We screen for fentanyl, all of those things. And then we have a robust care management team, and if they need to get to treatment, that's what we'll do. We'll get them, to the appropriate level of care. And then law enforcement doesn't have to figure all of that out. Like, what do I do? Where can I go? We tell them, just bring them to us. We tell them it's like stop, drop, and roll. Stop. There's a law enforcement in the very back door. We call that's the back door.
Right.
And we are going to receive law enforcement 100% of the time. Even if it's not the appropriate place, we'll get them there. We need you doing law enforcement things.
Yeah.
We don't need you to triage mental health, substance use, all of those kinds of things.
What kind of roadblocks have y'all had to tackle along the way?
Well, it is always something when you are the first.
Yeah.
We've got to cut through all of the red tape, all of the channel. There were no crisis services. So how do you identify? How do you even create a system to provide these services? How do you get reimbursed for the service? All those things. And when nobody knows what you do and who you are. I mean, we are a part of crisis care. If you were to look at Medicaid, that wasn't even an option. So actually cutting through that, opening in the middle of a pandemic. Most people were closing their doors.
Yeah.
We were opening our doors. And how do you get 120 staff?
Well, so the pandemic is an interesting aspect of this because it's a time that, yes, sent everybody home. You can't intervene virtually. You can't have a Zoom intervention.
Right.
But at the same time, though, the pandemic also exacerbated a lot of these problems.
Absolutely.
Because people's support networks were gone, people's livelihoods were gone, people were turning down bad paths as a result of this,
Yes.
which would only increase y'all's workload at a time where we're all encouraged not to be at work.
Exactly. So February 11th, 2021, we opened in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had to do all of this in the middle. We had to we have a great building. We had to get all of those units together, train everyone. And we know that there was an increase in mental health issues. We know that there was an increase in substance use. So how do we provide the services, provide treatment, provide crisis services, protect those individuals, and protect the staff? And so we had to figure out PPE. I mean, our executives, and we have the Brit Center for Hope, and the service provider is RI International. And RI International have been crisis specialists, and we've been doing it for 30 years. We provided the SAMHSA toolkit in crisis. We actually helped put that together. Another other thing that we're doing is establishing and working with 988. And we'll talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
But actually getting all of that together in the midst of a pandemic to provide services to individuals, it was challenging, but we did it because people needed the help. We opened the doors, and they actually have, they've been coming, and they keep coming.
You got just over a year under your belt since opening the front doors. Now, this is a problem that's been growing generationally. It's going to take a minute before we see any real sustainable change.
Absolutely.
But y'all have some numbers under your belt you can brag on already, do you not?
We do. In our first year, in the middle of a pandemic, we saw 2,200 people in the middle of the pandemic. And of the 2,200, there were 888 law enforcement and first responders who brought individuals to us. Instead of taking them to jail, and instead we, as a diversion program, 888 people, we serviced 888 individuals that law enforcement, they were able to just bring them to us under 5 minutes.
That means over 1,300 walked through the front door on their own.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I honestly, I would have thought those numbers would have been at least reversed or inverted. That's crazy.
Yes,
But that's a good thing, though. So of those 888, do we know what they've done since? Has anybody had to come back for a second trip?
That we do. We have, there is a percentage of some that come back, probably 10%. 10% of the individuals may come back.
Okay.
And you know what? That's encouraging. And this was a great story. There was a great story that Tanja Miles did, and she had a panel discussion. And one of our guests came on, and he came through the front door. His mom brought him, and he was suffering with alcohol addiction. And he talked about the non-judgmental way that we provided services to him. And unfortunately, he went out. We tried to connect him with services. He didn't get it the first time.
Yeah.
And he talked about having to come back again. And instead of us being judgmental and condemning him and what have you, he actually said how warm and welcoming it was to come back a second time, because engagement is huge with us. treating people like people.
Yeah.
It's just really, really, really important. And he's doing really, really well. He's actually a peer support now, and he's going out, telling his story, helping other people, and just being very productive. So that's great.
We've got exactly a minute to go.
Okay.
Tell me about 988.
988 will be, remember we had 911, right? Well, now in July 26th, our CEO is leading the charge with 988. People will be able to call 988 when they're having a mental health crisis. Instead of them flooding 911, they'll be able to call 988 and receive crisis services. And we're also beginning with Louisiana mobile crisis services. So we're going out into the community and stabilizing folks and what have you. So it's just we're just excited about partnering with iCare, partnering with Crimestoppers. We're all trying to doing a good job and doing well, and helping people and trying to prevent people.
Well, it is a long-term goal and a long-term solution. It is not looking for the short-term anecdotal evidence, but so far so good. So
yes.
She is Sean Langston Emery with the Bridge Center. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from this break, it's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. A lot of headlines going on in our surrounding parishes. We've got the outside in coming your way next. Oh, also, got to tell you about Dreams Come True on our next segment as well. That is coming your way next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah, that could have gone on. I dive in on that sort of thing. I dive in on this sort of thing because for years and years and years, it's been rinse, repeat, and the problem's only gotten worse.
Yes.
And eventually it's, how's that working out for you?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
When looking to do something new and different.
Absolutely. So we're working and we're building, and it's good that we can partner with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you next month.
Yep. Okay. Well, no, you'll see me later this month.
Stopping by for a second. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely will do. Thank you.
Y'all be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, don't forget that.
Oh yeah. Now nobody's.
Y'all be careful.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Everything good?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Not sure if this.
Because it promotes fundamental fairness and equity in the justice system.
756 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Sean Langston Emery from the Bridge Center for stopping by to talk about the Bridge Center. A little more than a year under their belts, and they've already got some numbers to brag on, which, look, it's going to be a long haul to change behavior overall over the course of an entire city, which was why I asked her about repeat visitors. As you know, have you seen that before? So they're doing great work, though, in a very short period of time. We're going to get you to the outside in just a second. In the meanwhile, got to remind you to go check out talk1073.com and please, please, please make a donation for the Dreams Come True Radiothon. It's going on all month long, but there's no need to wait. Do it now, because the way this is set up, when we get donations from our listeners, when we reach certain benchmarks, it opens up the floodgates for the sponsors to give even more. Talk1073.com is where you're going to find it. Dreams Come True. We team up with them every single year, and we love doing so. They grant dreams to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Check it out at talk1073.com. All right. It is time for us to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. It is time for This Day in History. Nope, it's time for the outside in. Sorry. We got to work quickly and start off in Ascension Parish. A home in Bullion Crossing was shot multiple times Monday afternoon, according to deputies. Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office says no one in the home was hurt in a shooting that took place around 5:45 on Corvette Drive. The shooters left the area before deputies arrived. Law enforcement in Iberville Parish closed down I-10 for a good chunk yesterday to remove an overturned tanker truck carrying hazardous materials. Sheriff's Office said the truck carrying acrylic acid was carrying acrylic acid. We had it in our news, our traffic reports all day yesterday. They shut down the interstate from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Next stop, Assumption Parish, where police arrested a 17-year-old accused of firing a gun at a group of people. The Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office arrested the teen Wednesday after investigating the incident, which happened back on April 4th. Sheriff's Office didn't report any injuries, but said bullet holes were found in a home and a vehicle, and that is the outside in. Here comes CBS News. Way too many texts to respond to there. Troy says, hard to argue otherwise that Senator Cassidy is the best at equating Washington issues down to the average Joe. Totally. Totally. Which, honestly, I hope he doesn't run for governor. We have great representation in Washington, D.C. on the Senate side. We have it on the House side, too. But on the Senate side, we have Senator Cassidy, who actually has a more conservative voting record than Senator Kennedy. But Senator Kennedy is always going to garner headlines. Senator Kennedy is always going to be an outspoken voice. Senator Cassidy is going to work pragmatism to a conservative level. It's a phenomenal 1-2 punch. Wow, a lot of birthdays. Daryl Hurst was supposed to, but he's stuck in traffic, not going to make it, so he'll be on the phone. And then William Tate is definitely on the phone, I believe. Hmm? Yes. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Jake producing. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us. Got a busy hour this hour as well. First of all, thanks to everybody who's already hopped on the show today. Patrick Grimion was in talking a little NFT versus NIL, or NFT along with NIL. Senator Bill Cassidy was on board, and of course we had our Crimestoppers segment as well, talking with Sean from the Bridge Center. This hour, Metro Councilman Daryl Hurst going to be on the show in our next segment, and LSU President William Tate going to join us as well, talking about the Scholarship First agenda, talking cybersecurity, talking a few other things as well. Really looking forward to this conversation. I haven't had President Tate on yet. Hopefully we can make this a regular thing. That's all still to come. We lead off the third hour every day by going back in time. Jake brings you this day in history.
Yes, sir. It is time for this day in history. We're going to be kicking things off in 1611. The word telescope is first used by Prince Federico Cesi.
Sassy?
C-E-S-I.
Sassy.
Cesi.
I'm down with that.
1818, the U.S. Medical Corps forms.
Really?
Yep. And 10 years later, 1828, the first American dictionary, its author, Noah Webster, registers its copyright for publication.
Okay.
1831, soldiers marching on a bridge in Manchester, England, causes it to collapse. It's unfortunate.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years later, in 1841, the first detective story was published, Edgar Allan Poe's Murder in Rue Morgue.
You a Poe fan? I'm a Poe fan.
A dabble.
I never read Murder in Rue Morgue, but I'm a Poe fan.
Very nice. 1865.
Oh, yeah.
U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is shot in the head by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington.
Yep.
He dies a day later. 1902, J.C. Penney opens his first store, the Golden Rule Store, in Kemmerer, Wyoming.
Okay. First J.C. Penney. Nice.
Yes, sir. And in 1910, U.S. President William Howard Taft begins transition of throwing ceremonial first pitch on opening day of baseball season.
I would not have guessed that.
Not Taft?
You figured it would be a president. I just would not have guessed it would be Taft.
How come?
I don't know.
Just off of just
Yeah.
test.
I just feels like a Teddy Roosevelt thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although different era.
1912, RMS Titanic, the world's largest ocean liner, hits an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. off Newfoundland. Sinks in the early hours of the 15th of April.
Yeah, traditionally, April 15th is the day the Titanic sank, but it did hit the iceberg before midnight struck. So it's one of those 2 day in a row. No, you're 100% accurate. It's one of those 2 day in a row stories, just like Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you'll report that he died.
We'll talk about it both tomorrow.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for hearing the same
April
thing
15th,
twice.
a big day in history.
Yeah,
so
really.
is April 20th, if we could foreshadow a little bit.
Oh, we definitely can. Well, in 1963, Quiet Beatle George Harrison is impressed by unsigned British blues band Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And in 1968, the first NBA game at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden. New York Knicks beat the San Diego Rockets 114-102.
Cool.
Very nice. 2012, J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter novels, launches her website, Pottermore.
Pottermore?
Yeah.
All right.
2013, comedian Kevin Hart is arrested on suspicion of drunk driving in California.
Probably doesn't take a whole lot to get him drunk. I mean, he's only like 3 foot tall.
And in 2017, The Fate of the Furious, starring Vin Diesel and The Rock, opens worldwide. Highest grossing weekend at $532 million. That's all the events. What am I missing?
Nothing. That's good.
Well, then let's get it. Birthdays. Sarah Michelle Gellar turns 45.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, the second best quarterback in Cleveland, is 27. Anthony Michael Hall, 54.
Whoa. Second best quarterback in Cleveland, what?
He turns 27.
Why is he the second best quarterback in Cleveland?
Because Deshaun Watson's there now.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like in history.
Oh.
I thought you were like getting a little Bernie Kosar reference or something.
Maybe. Should I take credit for it?
No.
Okay.
'Cause not unless you could tell me who Bernie Kosar was.
I could not.
He's a Cleveland quarterback. It's right there in the context
figured,
clues.
But like I can't tell you about his history. Come on, son. Anyway, Anthony Michael Hall turns 54.
Oh.
Rob Michelini, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I hope I got it sort of right. He turns 45. Chase Young is 23.
Yep.
And DJ Moore turns 25.
All right.
What am I missing?
Loretta Lynn. I don't know how old she is. Adrian Brody is 49.
Very nice.
DeBrat is 48. DeBrat is 48.
Okay.
Got a slew of baseball names for you.
Can't wait to know.
Born on this day in 1966, both David Justice and Greg Maddux.
Whoa.
Stepping away from, I don't have a slew. I got one more baseball name for you, and it's kind of a big one. 1941, Pete Rose.
Ooh.
Pete Rose's birthday is today. Pat Surtain's birthday is today. Former St. Max Unger's birthday is today, and former LSU Tiger Rohan Davey, born on this day in 1978.
Happy birthday to all those mentioned. Didn't have any deaths to talk about, but holidays.
You will tomorrow!
Yeah. Holidays. It is National Gardening Day. You like a bit of gardening, Brian?
No, I'm terrible at it. I love it, but I'm terrible at it. I kill everything I touch.
Maybe you should just leave it alone.
I do. Oh. You've been sitting on that since the show opened at 6, aren't
I thought about it just now.
Okay.
And it is also National Dolphin Day. You'd like to think that, most holidays would have a porpoise, but, Dolphin Day it is.
Wow, you went back to back on them.
Yeah,
all right.
Two. That is this day in history.
All right. Coming up on 8:13 to Talk 107.3 FM, we are due for a break, so let's go ahead and take it now. When we come back, we'll talk a little Metro Council business and get to know Daryl Hurst next. Thank you. Hey, what are you doing to celebrate today, Taylor? It's Baker Mayfield's birthday.
Oh, yeah. It's my mom's birthday. I was like, no, him and my mom have the same birthday. I think I'm going to FaceTime him later.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that happened yesterday after the...
It was like at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon or something.
Yeah.
No, people are just still sharing it. I saw like earlier. Someone died. Well, when Fallon Brown does that to me, you typically only call 4.
Eight 16. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So a couple weeks ago, Daryl Hurst cruised in the election to, make his Metro Council seat a little less interim and a little more long-term. Our first chance to get him on, and he joins us right now. Councilman Hurst, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning.
Glad to have you on. Glad to have a little chat. So this is your first time on with us. Let's start with a little introduction, a little background. Who is Daryl Hurst, and who did the people elect?
Well, I am, first and foremost, I always tell the people I'm a child of God, man. So I'm a love Jesus and make my decisions through his word. I'm a father, husband, so I've been married 17 years. Got married at 21. Went from college football to just, and with that being said, played football at Southern University and married my Miss Southern from 2000. And now I have a 15-year-old son who is a phenomenal athlete and amazing leader, and an 11-year-old daughter who is following in his footsteps. Beyond that, my wife and I run a nonprofit, Elite Sports of Baton Rouge, where we've taken our athletic and leadership experience and combined them to show kids through sports how that they can knock down barriers in life. And with the 8 years that we've been doing this, it kind of led to the servant leadership, which has put us in position today to make an impact on the city.
What made you want to get into politics?
I tell everybody I didn't choose politics, man. Politics chose me. So I had horses for a bit, lived outside the parish, and through a tragic life experience, my mother-in-law passed. We ended up moving back to Baton Rouge, and all of our nonprofit work had been in North Baton Rouge because that's where we're both from, even though we weren't living here. And so I woke up about 5 days in a row at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't until I submitted to running that I get peace and go to sleep. And that was in 2020, and I lost. I felt at that point in time, man, you know, when your passion meets your purpose and you've done everything you're supposed to do, I looked at the numbers and I was like, okay, I was here for a reason. I don't know what it is. And saw the numbers. As competitive as I am as a former athlete, I had peace about it and I went to sleep. And 2 years later, I stand before you because I did what God called me to do in the prior election. So that's why I say it chose me. I didn't choose it, man.
So you sit in the seat for a little while on an interim basis and then run the election. What's the transition been like moving into that seat?
The transition, honestly, is easier than what I expected. So in the business world, my wife and I have an AT&T franchise and a few other businesses where we do B2B sales or B2C sales every day. So managing profit and loss statements, understanding how to whiteboard processes and try to improve the way the city operates, going from a 10-step process to a 5. That's what we do for a living. So just kind of transitioning into that seat, just relating that to what the city does and how they operate. It's nothing but the business of the people. It really was an easier transition than I thought. And then with the nonprofit side and always focusing on social issues to make an impact and a change in Baton Rouge as a whole, combining those two, I believe they prepared me to step in and be able to make an impact on day one.
Metro Councilman Daryl Hurst is our guest, recently elected to the post. I think it was, 3 weeks ago when the election went down?
Yeah, somewhere around that time, March 26th.
Yep. And so since then, what's the rest of the council been like as far as, moving from the interim spot over to the more permanent spot? This council has been getting along really well, and we're seeing results as Baton Rouge. We're seeing results because of that. What's the interaction been like with your fellow council persons?
Well, I mean, it's been amazing. Now, one thing is, so I have great relationships on both sides of the aisle. I mean, I have great relationships. And so I've gone against everybody, the Democrats, the Republicans, the people who I think are really independent. And it's about standing up for what the people put you in office to stand up for. But we'll go in there. We may slug it out in the chambers. But we go in the back and we break bread and we'll sit down for dinner and have a good time and just talk about everything in life, including our kids and family. And it's a great camaraderie. And it's been a joy to work with everyone on the council.
All right, I got to know a story now. I got to ask a story here. Who slugs it out the hardest?
It depends on the topic. So Denise Amoroso has a hot button topic right now with moving the noise ordinance management to the ABC board. Right, it's been a really hot topic. So we slugged it out with her in there, but we hugged afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. Dwight Hudson has had some stuff with some zoning and on Hoosier. We slugged it out, but we hugged afterwards. I've had some zoning stuff in Central, so they slugged it out with me. Lamont Cole has had some stuff with kids and cars and smoking, which none of us want kids to have secondhand smoking cars, but it's some of the other things that go along with the law that make it kind of challenging to support or not support. So it doesn't really matter who it is. It's just been whatever that hot topic has been. And, sometimes they'll email us before the council meeting and say, hey, man, this is what I got. And all of us are like, man, I'm with you. And then as we go through dialogue, but just because of time and schedules, we don't always have time to talk about it before. And it brings about thought-provoking things. It's like, man, I didn't think about this loophole in that law. Let's table it for down the road, or let's scratch it. And it kind of says, well, hey, if you thought about this before, why didn't you tell me? And I could have made an adjustment. So even though to the public sometimes it looks like knife cutting in there, you don't get some of those ideas and thoughts until that open dialogue happens in the middle of the floor. So there's no one target, man. It all depends on, you know, what the topic is and how it impacts the people that you're putting office to serve.
Talk with Metro Councilman Daryl Hurst, who's he's got the seat good and warm at this point with the election 3 weeks ago. I want to talk to you about a couple of different topics that I just want to gauge the level of what the Metro Council is, what y'all's level of involvement or interaction is going to be. The first of which is something that's happening at the state legislature. I'm just curious what the Metro Council can actually do from the Metro Council's point. This is the governor wanting to set aside invest $500 million into a new Mississippi River Bridge. This is obviously of interest to everyone in Baton Rouge. From a council's perspective, what can y'all do to help this happen?
Well, what we do is we can be an advocate. We are boots on the ground. So, in certain markets, the state rep is maybe the closest one in terms of feet on the street. In this market, for the majority, it is the council people who are taking those grassroots efforts. And we get the traffic complaints. People cannot, a lot of times people don't realize that there's a state, federal, and local. I think if it's a street in Baton Rouge, I need to call my councilman. So we field those calls.
Yeah.
So the best thing that we can do is be armed with the information. We can make sure that we advocate for it, because I'm definitely for, I'll tell you from District 5 standpoint, the congestion. I'm for a loop. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Houston. I know what the loops can do and how they decongest traffic. I think right at this point we may be a little beyond that. So the next best opportunity for that is to create another way to get across that bridge. So another bridge is definitely something we're advocating for. In the meantime, we're advocating for the widening of Airline Highway to take some of that congestion off as they do repair that I-10 congestion that happens in South Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it's about to get much, much worse throughout Baton Rouge when the interstate goes under construction. Either the interstate's just going to be gridlock all the way around, or folks are going to jump off, making for greater congestion on our surface streets as well. So Mississippi River Bridge would be one, a little more city-based, but again, I don't think completely under y'all's purview. Let's talk about CATS and the CATS CEO. What can the Metro Council do? What's your role here?
So our role is to put people in place on that board who are knowledge-based from multiple perspectives. I believe in diversity and thought leadership. I think some of the challenges that we find on some of these boards is you have all lawyers or all school teachers or all businessmen. And when you go to school, you got to think about it. A lawyer's taught to think a certain way, to get from evidence to discovery, whatever. I'm not a lawyer, so I won't go through all the steps, but you got it. Engineers taught to be mechanical in the mindset of what they do. A business person is thought to think marketing strategies, depending on what aspect you're in, to cash flow management. And so you have to have a diverse leadership board. One of the things we need to do is when we go into that from a mechanical standpoint, whether it be automotive repair or infrastructure design, have somebody in there that has a mechanical mind. We need to have somebody with a legal mind. We need to have someone with a business-oriented mind. But you also need people that understand what the riders want and what the riders need to make their commute to and fro wherever they're going to be a great one. And then from a CEO standpoint, you need somebody who has a vision for the future of CATS that can think beyond the bus lines and what about a short-term rail line, like what Houston did, that went through downtown, maybe LSU to Southern, and then expand that throughout the city as we redevelop and make it more walking communities. So we need somebody with we need diverse leadership, number one. But from a CEO standpoint, we need somebody who can imagine Baton Rouge in a different way.
Metro Councilman Daryl Hurst with us for a couple more minutes. So, yeah, while not having a direct role in the operations of CATS, you do, like you said, you do appoint the board members, and the CEO does report back to y'all. What's the vibe been like on that since then? I mean, should we as Baton Rougeans expect change in the near future, not just from a personnel standpoint, but from, like you said, a visionary standpoint?
I wasn't involved in selecting Mr. DeVille. In my short window, I did not have time to really understand the operations of CATS in detail. I did meet with both sides of the aisle on that. When I say aisle, I mean from a CATS perspective, the workers, the people that wanted him out, the people that wanted to keep him in, and I just was uninformed to really give a response or have any type of say-so in that. But what I will tell you is that what I can control moving forward is having the dialogue about who the right CEO would be, working with the board to make sure that that person is selected, and when things come about in the future, making sure that there's accountability there from day one and transparency so that the taxpayers are getting what they're paying for.
We got 2 minutes left with Daryl Hurst. Your top two goals for your first term as the Metro Council representative from District 5. What do you want to do for District 5 coming up?
You can give me top 10, and it'll be the same thing. It'll be economic development. Because when you think about economic development, I always tell people education equals income, which equals outcome. So it's re-educating our communities to make them employable. Once they become employable, you can put them in home ownership. Home ownership drives down crime. Well, education drives down crime, number one, because you are employable, and the survival techniques that are used that create crime and other things in our city are mitigated. Blight gets removed because now I own the home. I'm not renting it and jumping from house to house. So economic growth in North Baton Rouge is the key to Baton Rouge thriving. You know, we can have all the economic boom in South Baton Rouge if we choose to, but you won't see people building towers here and industry coming because from a high level standpoint, they're looking at infrastructure, they're looking at education, they're looking at crime. If education doesn't go up, if infrastructure doesn't improve, and crime doesn't go down, median incomes don't raise, and we don't see investment in our community that makes us to continue to be one of the greatest cities on earth.
All right, well, I'm going to plant the seed right now to get the wheels rolling for your next time on, because we're just straight up out of time for this time around. But the big question becomes how. So next time you're on, let's get real granular into the how. In the meanwhile, welcome aboard. He is Daryl Hurst, Metro Councilman from District 5. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I hope that didn't sound like I was trying to put him on the spot about Bill DeVille, but it's what's in the news right now, and in some way, shape, or form, it's in front of the Metro Council. That wasn't directed at him, but I'm going to be curious to see how change plays out in that regard and how deeply involved the council gets. All right. Time to push pause. We'll hit news. We'll hit traffic. We'll hit weather. When we come back, LSU President William Tate joins us next on Talk 107.3. Oh, shoot. There we go. I never did send you the video. You just got it. Yeah. Oh, well, then I sent it to you again. William. Dr. William Tate. All right. Morning, Nina. Galen says Daryl Hurst sounds knowledgeable and in touch with reality. He 100% is, and I'm glad I didn't hit him with the economic development stuff until when he brought it up, but until the end of the interview, because that's one of those ones where, yeah, those are great sounding talking points, but how? With every time we talk about economic development in North Baton Rouge, you get into a chicken and egg situation that gets derailed quickly. It's a 30-second commercial. I sent you a minute and a half one. All right, well, we'll play the minute and a half one. Yeah. So stupid. Hotline. Dr. Tate, how are you? This is Brian. We're in our news break right now, so it'll be about 2 minutes and then coming your way, okay? All right, hang tight for me. I already did. It's okay. Yeah, how was that last night? Yeah, it's they charge you cost for the poor. Like it's not. There's no upcharge. They're not making money off it, and they're pulling down yeah. Yeah, they had Old Elk Infinity was last night. No worries. The scholarship first agenda, partnership with Our Lady of the Lake, and cyber defense. 837 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Very brief weather forecast for you because we have Dr. William Tate on hold, and I don't want to leave him there for too long. The overnight storms that we got last night rolled through, did not knock out a lot of power. Didn't do a whole lot of damage. They were just really, really loud, and they've cleared the way for very nice weather today. Look for humidity to increase tomorrow. Spotty showers over the Easter weekend. All right. Joining us now is the president of Louisiana State University System, Dr. William Tate. Dr. Tate, good morning. How are you, sir?
Outstanding. And yourself?
I'm doing very well this morning. Glad to have you on board. Glad to have you joining us. And we got a slew of things to talk about. But before we get into any of it, I got to ask how you're liking the gig.
Really enjoy it. I really have come to know a lot of folks here in Louisiana, and the experience has been quite positive. I think that we've been getting a lot of support for some of the ideas we have, and it's an exciting time to be at LSU.
Well, one of the ideas that you have is the Scholarship First agenda. Tell us all about it.
Well, when I arrived, I sat down with the team, and we talked about what things can we do at LSU that are distinctive, but that add value and protect and secure the future of Louisiana and protect its people. And so we came up with 5 areas that we call our Pentagon to protect and secure the future of Louisiana. But also we call it our Scholarship First agenda because our idea is that research and good scholarship is really a value added for the state from an economic point of view. And the 5 areas, like ABCDE, are agriculture, biomedical science, coastal work, and specifically coastal science and engineering, defense with a strong focus on our ROTC and cyber, and energy. And those 5 areas are interdependent in terms of how it unfolds on campus and how it unfolds in real life. You know, cyber undergirds everything. Energy undergirds everything. Ag undergirds everything because you've got to eat. You need to be able to move cars. We've got to be able to secure our coast. So we think this agenda is the right agenda for the state's flagship system, and we are committed to adding value in these 5 areas going forward.
How do you go about adding value in these 5 areas without neglecting other areas of the university?
Well, we are actually in the middle of a strategic planning process. We just started it. And in that context, we're looking at the values of the university. In other areas of the university, we'll have an opportunity to be highlighted, but you can't start off as a university president. If I were writing a book, I'd tell anybody this, without having a core set of priorities that everyone can rally around and understand the value proposition. And these 5 for us are transparent in terms of what we need to do to help the state of Louisiana. Doesn't mean we don't care about history. Absolutely. Doesn't mean that English isn't important. It absolutely is. It doesn't mean that music and art aren't important. We're absolutely going to make sure that those areas are robust. But these 5 priorities are 5 that we think we should be partnered with the state in very careful ways, because if we don't get this right, then it's really not going to be good for the future of the state.
I want to talk about these 5 areas individually, but I'm not going to go in alphabetical order if that's okay, because defense and specifically cyber defense have garnered a lot of headlines lately, and there's so much potential for the future here. Talk to me a little bit about where the investments are going to be in defense and cyber defense at LSU.
Right, you're spot on. If nothing else about our situation in Ukraine and Russia lets you know how important cyber is, you can see what happened with the Russians and how they shut down parts of the infrastructure in Ukraine prior to a physical attack. We're attacked constantly all the time. Every small business in the state of Louisiana is subject to ransomware. And literally, if they lose that battle, they'll get shut down. There are 500,000 jobs today in cyber across the country and millions across the globe. The starting salaries are quite high, relatively speaking, and where we have expertise is in forensics cyber. It's something that we think we can add value. We have partnerships emerging right now with the National Security Agency, the State National Guard, the State Police. NSF has indicated that LSU is one of its 25 universities that has a certain kind of expertise that has to be manifest at scale. And we're working on a very close partnership with the National Security Agency, as well as the Secret Service. Our aim is to produce the very best cyber soldiers, whether they're civilian or military, in the United States of America, and that LSU, across our system, from Shreveport all the way to New Orleans, that you will be able to find someone who has that expertise and add value to the community at large. And so we're very excited about it, and we have great expertise now, and we're going to enhance it and invest in it and make sure that we're very good. And the same deal for our ROTC. We want to have great military folks who understand the technological warfare is very real, and that skill set is manifest in our ROTC, and we produce leaders of the first order.
How much of this emphasis from you, how much of this stems from LSU's history combined with seizing opportunity that's in front of us right now?
Well, the realities are, before I took this job, I read the history of LSU, and I saw how strong the military influence was on the campus. And when I visited the campus and talked with people, I saw how powerful the history and culture of our military investment had been over time. And for me, there are two important things that universities do. One is that we recapture and help make transparent history, culture, and tradition. And two, you protect and secure the future of the people you serve. And in this respect, the ROTC investment, the cyber investment, does both. It both captures and builds on our rich tradition in terms of protecting people of the state and the country, as well as protecting us going forward in the future. It is both historical and real-time protection.
Part of the investment in the future is the Forensic and Incident Response Environment, or LSU's Fire Starter. Talk to me a little bit about this particular investment and where it's headed.
Well, I mean, clearly it was a priority prior to my arrival, but it's going to be even more important right now. It's one of the many areas that we have that I think we need to scale and make much stronger. And when I always say that, people always say, do you think it's not strong now? No, I'm just the type of person who looks at things that are really good and say, let's be even better. And so that's where we're headed, and we're going to invest more in that. And, you know, we just had a dedication around cyber, so our physical infrastructure is going to expand, and we're going to build a corridor or a hub around this particular area on campus and make sure that people can see in visual terms how much we care about this, and that actually we have state-of-the-art facilities so that, you know, we just do the best science and engineering we can to protect the people of the state.
We've got Dr. William Tate as our guest. He's the president of the LSU system. I want to move from defense to the coast, because this is something I actually got a firsthand look at a few weeks ago. LSU, one of just a few dozen Sea Grant universities in the nation. Where can we expect coastal studies to go in the near future?
Well, LSU is very special, and I don't, you know, a lot of times we look at rankings and people poo-poo Louisiana, but I'm going to tell you right now, people should be very proud of what we have in coastal science. We have over 200 researchers at LSU who work on coastal science. We're top 5 in the United States in terms of external research dollars in the area of coast. And our coastal scientists are committed to what I would call the Golden Triangle. They do research, but it's applicable to business and commercialization, and it's applicable to government and government policy. And that combination of research at the university, commercialization, and government policy is the lane in which we want to continue to grow and build partnerships so that the science and engineering that happens at LSU actually is manifested on our coast to protect the coast so that people here across generations have a chance to experience life as their forefathers did. It's extremely important for us to be able to do that. And we're not just doing science and engineering for the sake of it. We're doing it for protection. And I think that's a big part of what gets lost often when we talk about research and engineering. People don't realize oftentimes that work gets planted right in your community, right in your parish to protect you. And that's our commitment. We're just going to double down on it on the coastal area. We have some requests to the legislature to add some tools and equipment that would help add value for the folks that are already working real hard, and we believe that would be catalytic in terms of protection.
And you talked about partnerships with state police and National Guard from the defense end. What are the partnerships like here, teaming up with, I would assume, CPRA, among others?
Yeah, that's a foremost partnership we have, and it's extremely important for us to continue to work closely with that group. And we're all in with that, about the efforts at the Water Institute and that whole setup. So we're all in with it, and we also are very interested in working with other universities across the world who also have expertise to bring that expertise here to Louisiana. So a big part of what universities can do are build partnerships across the globe where you transfer the knowledge that people are learning elsewhere to your local area. And that's a big part of what we want to do. And we also want to help others with the things that we're learning so they can protect themselves from water and the climate issues as well.
Got about 2 minutes left with Dr. William Tate, LSU's president, and I would love to keep in on the 5 different areas for the Scholarship First agenda, but I got to ask about the Our Lady of the Lake partnership that was recently announced as well.
Well, that's an unbelievable partnership that includes Our Lady of the Lake, LCMC in New Orleans, and the investment that they have made in us is going to allow us to build out an outstanding sports medicine clinical practice, as well as research infrastructure and teaching capabilities in our environment that will, and a big part of what you have to understand is think about anything we do in sports medicine to help athletes becomes transferable to the weekend athlete. That's all of it. And so we're going to actually be able to build practices out that I think are going to expand the portfolio of individuals who might be able to benefit from that. It also allows us to scale up some things we're doing in our student health center and have a really outstanding platform for improving our student health. And then the other part that's really exciting for me as epidemiologist is that part of the gift included paying for research related to cancer and biomedical science. And one of our goals is to have LSU to have NCI designation, that's National Cancer Institute designation. And so that's a big deal. And then finally, folks really chipped in to help us put our interdisciplinary science building to match the state funding. That's extremely important for the future of LSU because that's where we're going to be preparing our future biologists, chemists, physicists, engineers in that building that will be state-of-the-art laboratory space. Very exciting, and we really, really appreciate the partnership with Our Lady of the Lake, LCMC, and those who invested in us.
I mean, all in, it's close to $250 million investment. Dr. Tate, you're kind of burying the lead there.
Well, let me say this humbly. Humbly, it's the largest gift in the history of LSU, and I'm told it's the largest gift in the history of Louisiana higher ed. I'm not sure about the latter, but I know for sure that it's the largest gift in LSU history. And, there's nothing better than having a great partner for universities. We have been really blessed to have a great partner, and I think it's going to make a major difference in human health here in the state of Louisiana.
Couldn't agree more. And between that and the Scholarship First agenda, we're going to have plenty to talk about in the near future, so don't be a stranger around here. Look to have you on again soon.
I'd love to come back. Thank you for the invitation. Always.
He is Dr. William Tate, LSU System President. We are super late for a break, so we're going to go ahead and take that now. When we come back, State Senator Rick Ward taking to social media to fight the good fight for an investment in a Mississippi River bridge. We've got the video up next. He was fantastic. I wasn't cutting that short. I wanted to have him on originally in the 15 segment because that's longer. I actually want to have him on for an hour every month, but I don't think I'm going to get that. Dude. Do I know this person? Yeah, probably don't want to. Yo. Buttholes. Okay. .855 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One more segment to go on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we hand things off to the Fox News Rundown. Programming note, tomorrow is Good Friday. And as far as this show is concerned, that means absolutely nothing. We will be here 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. If a lot of folks have off work, a lot of folks have off school, it is a vacation day, a holiday for most. We will be running as per normal on Good Friday. Going to take a good look at Easter, to be sure. We'll have our regular news topics as well. But, yeah, Good Friday, we'll be here with you to kick off your Easter weekend. I can tell you that as of right now, Haggai is in for Good Friday. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what Franz and I talked about wiping your cell phone clean from a tech perspective. I believe Peter Sclafani is on the rundown for tomorrow. I don't know if he's cooking for us or not. I honestly just want to talk to him about Jubin's. Been open for a couple weeks now. The return of Jubin's. It's a good thing. We'll break it down with Peter Sclafani. I've got a few other. We'll talk gridiron dinner as well. We got a lot. We got a lot for you in store for tomorrow. Right now, though, before we get out of here, State Senator Rick Ward. We've had him on this show talking about the $500 million investment into a new Mississippi River Bridge. If you're bumping around the news this morning or last night or whatnot, you probably saw a 30-second commercial he's taking to social media and elsewhere, encouraging those to double down, not double down, but just make the initial investment into the new bridge. I went ahead and hit up Rick Ward's Facebook page thinking he'd have that video there. And lo and behold, what I found was much, much better. Instead of a 30-second spot, how about a minute 30?
If your family is like most families, you budget and save to make big purchases in life. Priorities become critical. State government must learn to do the same. Last session, we put a priority on long-needed road and bridge problems in Louisiana. The legislature made this a priority. We were successful. New roads and bridges being built on pay-as-we-go with the money we had without raising new taxes. This session, our priorities must be building a new Mississippi River bridge. Because the state government has a large surplus, the legislature can set aside today $500 million for the new bridge. The bridge will cost over $1 billion to build, but this $500 million will be a huge down payment on construction, and this money will help to attract new federal dollars as well as private investment. As a state, we will be well on our way to building this new bridge with the money we have without raising taxes. All simply by putting priorities first and politics last. Louisiana can do big things by doing the right thing, using your money on the things that really matter, not wasting it on politics. Call your legislator, ask them to join our effort to build the new bridge. For a change, let's do the big things by doing the right thing.
Look, I was all in on the bridge before. And good ad by Rick Ward. Makes a lot of very, very good points. Nothing new to this show, as he's spelled out the case numerous times here as well. And, well, I'm a big cheerleader for the new bridge, even without a specific hammered down location yet. However, nothing he addressed in that ad addresses the concerns. It's a need-based plea, absolutely. But it doesn't address the concerns of those that are bucking back against it. I tell you what, we're out of time. Let's pick this up. We'll pick up this topic after Easter break. We got a Good Friday show coming your way tomorrow. We'll see you then. All right, YouTube. Yeah, he did that ad. You're not going to get the other side's, the rebuttal to the other side within that ad. But every day that goes by that we don't have one specific location or a timeline to get that one specific location is a day that Rick is losing in the battle. And the longer we go before having that, the more likely it is that the money gets diverted elsewhere, which is going to suck because we're left holding the traffic. We're left sitting there in traffic. We're left with I-10 being shut down. We're left with... You look at the construction that's about to go on I-10 right now, and no, this bridge would not be built in time to solve or allay any of that. But it's an example of how for the rest of our lives, we're just going to have to deal with this shitty situation because people won't hop on board to get it fixed overall. So, yeah, give me a timeline. Look, I want to see the ad from Rick Ward, and I look forward to having the opportunity to tell him this. I want to see the ad from Rick Ward that says, hey, you got a problem with investing $500 million into a new bridge? Let me just go ahead and tell you we will be down to 3 locations by this date and down to 1 location by this date. And if we're not, take the money back. Put it all in your district. I don't care. Take it back at that point. But let's set up an actual timeline. Let's put our nuts out there and say this is what we're going to do and be bold about it. So, any hoosers. I got to get out of here, y'all. Yeah, Good Friday show coming your way. We will we'll be at it from 6 to 9 tomorrow morning. We will see you then. Thank you for playing along. Oh, by the way, if you have not yet subscribed, please do. If you liked any of it, share it with your friends and ask them to subscribe as well. Later.